You're witnessing is
Is there a problem, officer? I'm traveling. Is there a problem, officer? I'm traveling.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sovereign Citizen Watch. How's it going, everyone? I wish I had my magnifying glass prop for my Velma costume, but I don't know where it went. I'll have to find it later. Hi, everyone. I decided to do a costume stream today because fun. So how's everyone doing? Good, I hope. Hope you're having a wonderful time. Chilie certainly isn't, and we're going to be covering some of the updates on his case, as well as we have some other videos if that doesn't take the whole time. On top of that, I thought it'd be fun today to get to the bottom of the mystery of whose fault is it for all of Chilie's legal problems? Obviously it's him, but it's gotta be a mystery theme because Velma. Anyway, so we're gonna look at some of his old cases, up to all the way back to 1990, so that's fun. So we will do that, and that's the plan for the day. I also have the knee socks on. I'm not going to show them for TOS reasons, but I want you to know that I committed to the bit. Don't know how much knee sock you can show on Twitch, so we're just going to not. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Let's see his updates that have happened recently, and then we'll dive back into some of his older stuff. He posted this, or rather, his friend who posted this 2 days ago. This was, I believe, just prior to his bond hearing. Because as you know, Chilie is going to be trying to appeal his sentence of 6 months in jail. And he wanted bail. Basically, while his appeal is going through, he was asking to be let out of prison, or rather, jail. So here's a video of him basically begging people to come to that hearing. That hearing already happened. We'll watch that next and go over what happened. But you get it. It's general Chilie stuff. Chilie being Chilie. So, let's get into it.
Go get in your car and do your job, little doggy.
He's a pig.
Excuse me?
I said he's a pig.
God damn!
He hates every law enforcement officer in the United States. All right. Please stand up, sir.
It's so funny to me that he's playing the montage as if it's him being, like, badass, and it's like, Chilie, these are the things that got you in jail. I mean, the first thing also, but, like, lack of decorum in court definitely weighed in on the decision to give you the 6 months in jail, which I found out wasn't even the maximum. He could have gotten a year, so it was not the maximum. He could have gotten a year, and he's appealing, so we'll see what happens.
This is a travesty of justice. Unbelievable. I don't like police.
Oh, duh, I missed a thing in chat. Jay Rodimus, thanks for 28 months, says creeping ever closer to 3 years. The time flies by.
Here's the docket. He was convicted right here.
This is a YouTube lawyer, like an actual lawyer, that chimes in. He's in here so Chilie's friend can argue with him.
Boom, boom, boom. There was a motion to create a standby counsel for his attorney, which is kind of an awkward thing to do. Judges don't really like it because what you're saying is, I'm competent enough to know the rules of evidence. I'm going to be held to the same standards as a lawyer. If the maximum sentence is 6 months per charge, and the judge gives him 6 months as a first offender and 6 months for another one as his first offender, and then runs them consecutively, so that's a year in jail, that would generate its own appeal. And the appellate courts might say, in all the cases you've done, how did this guy get the heightened punishment? How'd you give him the maximum? So the judges always play that game back. They anticipate a appeal. And they say, well, we gave him the mid-range sentence for each one. Well, then that's not an abuse of discretion. Surprised me was the consecutive sentences. I wasn't expecting that. Very hard to win an appeal on a misdemeanor case unless you really want to throw a lot of money at it. I was mentioning
it's generally just not even worth it. Like, again, I understand 6 months isn't nothing. 6 months could absolutely ruin someone's life. I don't think it would ruin Chilie's, considering what he does for a living. He's a streamer. He can just go right back at it. He doesn't have an apartment or a house that he's renting. He didn't have any obligations there. He lives in his car with his dog and drives around the country and does this. Not because he needs to. It's not a situation where he's, like, homeless because of some other issue. He chooses to do this. So honestly, if there's anyone who can kind of face tank a 6-month jail sentence, it's Chilie. A friend is just going to hold his car and his dog, which they are, and he's going to get out in 6 months and I'm sure keep doing the thing he's doing. It's not even worth the fighting the misdemeanor charge. He's wasting his time.
how the Nevada statutes, in my opinion, this to me looked unconstitutional because it was too broad and too easy to subjectively bust somebody. I'm never in favor of a law like that because, like I said, an innocent person can get busted.
I only have a limited amount of time. I'm locked down 23 hours a day, so it's every day is like a month. Every minute is like an hour.
Reminder that Chilie is on lockdown because he broke the rules. Most of the prisoners... Oh, and I should bring this up. There was a TV show called 60 Days In that covered the jail that Chilie is in. So I watched this to get the vibe, like, oh, what's the jail like that Chilie's in? Chilie is causing all of his own problems, I guarantee it. In the show, it was made pretty clear that it's not a great place to be. It's jail in Las Vegas. Obviously, it's not a fun place to be. But for the most part, when people came into issues, it was because they were being assholes to other inmates. Or it was because they had, like, borrowed something from someone and, like, not given it back. It was a lot of, like, you know, it was like people who are bored and locked up together and they've got a bunch of petty bullshit. Chilie, again, is on lockdown, which means he's only allowed on his bunk, like, in his bed, for 23 hours of the day. But that's because he kept breaking the rules. The reason this says not a live stream is because he got caught live streaming from prison, which you're not supposed to do. It's against the rules of the prison. Jail. I keep saying prison because he says prison. It's a jail, not a prison. There's a difference. It's the county jail. Anyway. So he's basically in timeout. He's in big boy timeout. And he's upset about it and acting as though it's a travesty of justice, when in reality, it seems like the prisoners generally get to do what they want for most of the day within the bounds of being in a jail, you know? They just kind of hang out and... Sure, it's boring and sucks. I'm sure it super sucks. But, like, he's acting like he's in some sort of, like, Tijuana prison. I don't know what he's doing. Imperfect Rebus says subjectively bust is an amazing phrase.
It's
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that one.
absolutely horrifically bad, horrible. They won't let me have a book. There's no books allowed. There's no.
He literally said that he had finished reading a Dan Brown book the other day. He was reading books. If he's not allowed one now, it's because he got in trouble, which I get it. That's not fun. That super sucks. I don't even know if that's necessarily fair, but, like, he's acting as though there's no reason for these things, like he's just being tortured, just for fun. Chilie, stop breaking the law, asshole, and stop breaking the rules, which they gave you when you went into the jail. He claimed he was never given rules, but again, the show I watched that takes place in this jail, they explicitly showed and explain that when the prisoners are intaked into the jail, they're given a sheet of rules along with, like, their toothbrush and stuff. So Chilie probably did get rules and just didn't read them or didn't care, and he's lying, in my opinion.
Pins allowed. You're in a room alone constantly for 24 hours a day. Yesterday they didn't give me an hour of free time. So I can only make a 5-minute call real quick, and I left you a voicemail. I have court on Monday. I need people to show up for me on Monday. Respectfully, calmly, quietly, look nice, look good, clean yourself up. Remember to try to be as calm and respectful as you can. It's at 200 Lewis Avenue. I'm sorry if I'm emotional. I only have 1 hour to try to get the message.
His crying and emotions are definitely very real and not manufactured to get his audience to give him money. How is his GoFundMe going, by the way, for his legal fund? Let's take a look. $19,000 out of $25,000. He's raised $19,000 so far. Have you made $19,000 in the last 2 weeks? Me either. I don't think I'd be crying like this if I made $19,000 in the last 2 weeks. Also, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do GoFundMes for stuff like this. I think it's against GoFundMe's TOS. Fun fact.
Out to get people to actually show up. It'll mean a lot to me. Monday is my appeal bond hearing. I think Mr. DeKellar will be there from Heller versus District of Columbia. Shake his hand. He's a tall, 82-year-old white guy with white hair. You can't miss him. You'll know who DeKellar is just by looking at him. But his stature and demeanor, and I need people to show up. So this place is a nightmare, and it's
Thanks for
so
following.
I can't give you the layout because I don't want to get in trouble for any security measures. But
See, I thought it was against TOS for any like legal fund or no, like that's like back in the day. For instance, I had to use the other site because GoFundMe didn't like. I think I had to use Indiegogo. I don't remember.
this
I didn't run that, so I guess I don't know.
all
I
in
thought it wasn't on GoFundMe though.
individual little tiny rooms, 1 or 2 people in each room.
Oh, felonies? Okay, so I guess he's fine then.
And about 10 o'clock at night, from being locked down for 23 hours, if they get an hour of free time, people start to go crazy. They start to kick and hit the door and shake and scream. And the ventilation system where the air conditioning comes through,
I have no idea who Zwan or Shanchu are.
everybody knows that if you talk into the ventilation system, other people can hear you. So about 10 or 11, 12 o'clock at night, the last 2 nights, I don't know, feels like 2 months, people will start to talk into the ventilation system saying, hey, somebody please talk to me. Somebody talk to me. And then there's a psych ward of women.
By the way, I do want to point out, the picture is not what the place he's in, like, looks like to my understanding. Again, this is not what it looked like in the show that I watched. Although he could just be in a different, like, block that has different looking cells. But I think he's painting a more dire picture than he is that doesn't even have the thin mattress pad on it. Lucas Dawn, thanks for 34 months.
Somewhere in the building. I can't say anything about the layout of the building. But
why is he so upset he can't say anything about the layout of the building? Does he not understand why he can't broadcast the layout of the prison from the jail? I fixed that in the middle of the sentence. Obviously you can't be in jail and be like, let me explain to you, people on the outside, where all the entrances and exits and secure points are, for no particular reason. Also, I sure am hankering for a cake. And incidentally, if anyone has any files, do you know how to make cake?
Then they'll go into the machine, into the fan, and start to sing horrible, horrible singing, and start to, like, purr, like, try to get, like, some sort of romantic or flirtatious relationship, and then the guys locked up in here are dying for some sort of affection from anybody, so...
They start purring like kittens? Alright. Toreador says, oh no, he's hearing voices in the walls. And they're horny!
They will, oh my god, I have limited time, I gotta get off this phone, I gotta go, I gotta call more people to get them to show up on Monday, because I need that courtroom to be packed full of people so she knows that...
Apparently there's a lot of catboy prisoners in this jail.
that I have an effect on others, that people will show up. And, it's just really hard. It's just really hard what I'm going through right now. I'm not going to look so good when you see me on Monday. I'm wearing the same clothes for 10 days. I stink. I'm dirty. And, I don't look good. So, no matter what happens, if I don't make it out of here, then you continue the mission to overturn Terry and to change the NRS
If I don't
code.
make it, it's county jail. It is jail. He is not in a maximum or medium or even minimum security prison. He is in a county fucking jail.
Where people only get 1 hour of free time a day at least. Gotta get cameras in the
He keeps repeating the 1 hour thing. Legally, you're required to give 1 hour. The first day he was in, he said they got 9. 9 hours of free time a day. Do all of you get 9 hours of free time a day? I'm not saying jail's preferable to be an outside jail, by the way. I'm just trying to make a point that the fact that he's harping on this 1 hour thing when that's the minimum legal requirement and not how much they're getting when they're not on lockdown. Lockdowns happen when incidents happen. So if a fight breaks out, again, I learned this from the TV show that was the reality show that took place in this jail. When lockdowns happen, it's because within that individual, like, unit, a fight is happening or something. Basically, guards are needed elsewhere, so they don't want people wandering around and stuff. Guards are needed at some other place, so people need to chill the fuck out, or a fight has broken out, so they want people to, like, calm the fuck down, so everyone gets a little timeout in their bunk. This is what he's talking about in terms of it being inhumane, is sometimes fights happen and we have to sit on our beds to calm down. I just can't. He's such an asshole. And I'm sure he's going to continue to be like an asshole and get in trouble in the jail, and he's going to end up on lockdown personally a lot, and he's going to be like, they're not letting me have any free time. And it's like, Chilie, everyone else is getting free time. You're not, because you're breaking the rules. They're trying to get you to conform, is basically what's happening here, Chilie, and I don't think you understand that. They are trying to conform you to certain behaviors, and when you fail to meet those expectations, you are punished. I'm not even saying that's great. I wish the system worked different than it does, but it's an understandable system. It is comprehensible, if not ideal.
Courtroom got overturned here.
Toreador says, speaking of free time, I made too much money this year and have to actually pay into taxes. Whatever the hell that means. Anyway, I'm spending a year dead for tax reasons. I've been dead inside for years, okay? I don't know what form that is, though. Should probably get an accountant.
Kerry versus Ohio. Gotta get rid of the torture cuffs.
He's still talking about the torture
They're
cuffs.
terrible. They use them in here constantly. I can't give the layout, but you go from place to place and they put you in torture cuffs when you go from place to place as though you're going to try to escape. If you get away from
Yeah, it's a jail.
there's another level of...
Like, they think people have ever tried to escape from jail before. Chilie, people do try and escape from jail. People do try and escape from jail. They're not often successful because the jails are designed around not allowing that to happen.
security and another level, and there's multiple levels of security that's not giving anything away. So you can't escape, but they still put you in torture cuffs. Listen, I can't talk. I gotta go. I gotta call some people. I'm gonna call some people and hope that there'll be some people there on Monday. And remember, if you show up, please be respectful and calm and together. Start to plan together. You
My
guys
bangs
stay
are
together.
so long. I need a
hotels,
trim.
or if you're gonna drive in from California, it could be a day trip. Leave at 3 in the morning. Of course,
Just
at
leave.
8 a.m.
Just leave at 3 in the morning to go drive to be supportive of Chilie. That's an easy ask, right? Asking you to get up at 3 a.m. and drive 3 to 5 hours. That's normal. Toreador says, I'm just saying that my financials are a disaster area.
And then leave at 9 again and go back to California, or if you're in the Nevada area and it's only a few hours.
His persecution complex is incredible. It is absolutely out there.
Leave at 3 o'clock in the morning, show up at court at 8, go back. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm sorry that I'm emotional, but this is the first free time I've got in 48 hours. So I love you guys. I got to call 2 more people before I only get 1 hour and I'm 45 minutes in. So do me a favor, you guys. Please contribute to my GoFundMe because I have heavy legal bills. And I have to...
the legal bills that you are voluntarily getting because you want to appeal a misdemeanor. Like, I can't... Do you know how bad I would feel if I asked people... Like, if I had to spend 6 months in jail, and it was my own fucking fault. Like, obviously, if I was framed or some weird fictional movie situation, whatever. But in this situation, it's clear that this is his own fault. If I was in that situation, how dare anyone ask for $25,000 from their audience? People who work so fucking hard for their goddamn money, and you got put in jail for your own actions, and now you're asking them for tens of thousands of dollars? That's disgusting, Chilie. That's disgusting.
There's things I have to follow through on.
He's probably making better money now than he's made in years. It's insane.
And I don't want to say on here because they listen to every one of my phone calls now. Love you all. Bye.
Chilie, they were listening to your phone calls before, you idiot. They're listening to every one of my phone calls now. They were listening before. Did you listen when you were on the phone and it said, this call may be monitored for blah, 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 blah.
The caller has hung up.
Trolls are having a field day with what's going on with delete laws,
How
Hendry,
did they get
and
that photo
Fletcher
of me without makeup on?
freedoms. And it makes me
Did they hack my phone?
wonder about the motivations of people who seem to love cheering on the violation of personal freedoms, including their own. When state and federal laws and the arbitrary commands of law enforcement officers run afoul of human rights and the articulated freedoms spelled out in the supposed supreme law of the land.
The supposed supreme law of the land? Your interpretation of the Constitution isn't my exact narrow definition of the Constitution. So you lose, Supreme Court.
It seems contrary to the fundamentals of self-preservation to continue supporting the addition of laws that erode more of our rights. At the same time, balance is key. It's easy to drink the Kool-Aid and get stuck in the trap of the cult of personality.
I'm sorry, I'm focused on this mural now. Okay, so we have Gandhi, we have JFK, Joseph Stalin. This kind of looks like young Vladimir Putin. And then in the middle is a Nobel Prize. Okay. Not sure about that. But cool. Cool. What do these people have in common? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. One of these things is not like the other. Can you figure it out by the end of this song?
No matter how much you may like and support someone, never allow them to jump in the front seat of your mind and replace truth and reason. Your allegiance should only ever be to that which is right and to those who do what is right. If a cop does wrong, it should be called out.
Agreed! No, virtually no one disagrees with that. I've even seen, like, a lot of right-wingers, whether it's just rhetorical, and it probably is, but either way, go like, yeah, sure, bad cops are bad. There is virtually no one on this planet, except for psychopaths, who don't agree with the statement, bad cops should be called out. The vast majority agree with that. What Chilie is doing is not doing that. Chilie is being an asshole on the internet for money and attention, and hey, you know what? I do that sometimes too. But the difference is I keep it contained to the confines of my home. I don't expose random strangers to this, okay? Have some shame, Chilie, like the rest of us. Like a good, decent American. Seriously, though, I don't know anyone who says that no cop should be held accountable. Usually it's a difference between people who recognize systemic issues with police, which make policing in general corrupt, thus terms like ACAB, and people who think it is an individual police issue that don't really recognize or believe in systemic problems, more right-wing people. But even they, often, will look at an obvious case of a cop being terrible or breaking the law and go, yeah, fuck them. It's just that they don't understand or recognize systemic issues, which is a separate problem. But virtually no one says bad cops should not be held accountable. It's just not a statement people generally make.
If an auditor does wrong or acts
Cops and cop unions are the exception.
foolishly or
But I said, nope, I shouldn't say that. Never mind.
imprudently, it should be exposed. This is trial attorney Patrick Darcy, and he gives his professional opinion on whether Chilie DeCastro can overturn his 2 convictions on appeal. And before I play what he says, Chilie's lawyer, Christopher Oram, has already requested a hearing and appealed and made a motion for bail or, in the alternative, a recognizance release.
Boy, I sure do wonder how that went. I wonder if we're going to be watching that right after this, and it'll be funny.
There is a hearing set for Monday, April 1st at 8 a.m.
And that was Chilie's day, and it still didn't work out for him, so.
And I'm sure the trolls will have a field day with this date. Here's some of what Patrick Darcy believes will happen during the appeals process.
Well, now that Chilie has lost.
This gentleman here is an actual lawyer. I don't know about him personally, but from what I saw, he seems like an actual professional lawyer who correctly identifies the problems with Chilie. Dillis Filler says that painting earlier reminded me of an example supporting the Oxford comma. I went to this club with the strippers, JFK and Stalin.
on his 2 counts and is in jail.
I'm a fan of the Oxford comma. Is anyone not at this point? Who doesn't like the Oxford comma?
Just what
Are we
I
having this discussion still?
think is going to happen with this
I feel like I was taught the Oxford comma.
appeal, because I think he will appeal. First of all, he's dead wrong.
I think he follows all sorts of legal stuff from what I saw. Again, it was like a cursory glance at his channel.
If he thinks the appeal will be decided within the next 6 months, no way. It's not a high priority
He covers
case.
a lot of cases, I think, that come up on LawTube in general, because there's like a whole LawTube genre, and then a subgenre of that is SovSits to some extent. It's its own community, but also it's kind of attached to the LawTube community.
It's a misdemeanor case. It's going to probably be a year and a half before it's heard, but he's not getting out in 30
We
days.
actually already saw his call being cut the other day when we did a stream, which was very good. For those who didn't see, Chilie got in trouble because he was live streaming during a call, which he wasn't supposed to do. I guess it's considered a third-party call by the prison. And, yeah, they cut off the call midstream. It was pretty funny.
No way. Also, they would know that he's a flight risk because of the warrant that's out in Ohio that I'm told is out there. I saw that in a traffic stop. So
the court is aware of his warrant out of Ohio, by the way, so I'm kind of wondering if, after this sentence is over, if they're going to ship him to Ohio for that. That would be just wonderful, wouldn't it? Can't run away from Ohio forever, Chilie. From Michigan, believe me, I know.
Getting him out on bond would be very difficult. He'd have to pledge collateral and security, especially with a bail bondsman thinking that he's going to abscond. So I think he's staying in jail.
This is what he's talking about from publicdocuments.com. There are 2 active warrants issued by both the city of Oregon and the city of Ironton, Ohio.
We're going to look at some of that later because I have that page pulled up. It's a whole website, and they have, oh boy, they have all of Chilie's criminal things. Do you want to see a list? Hold on. It really took me aback to see them all listed one by one. Give me a sec. All of these are cases against him. This wasn't even everything, though. It keeps going. So it starts back in 1990, and then each one of these boxes is a separate legal action against him or involving him. Scrolling, 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 scrolling. Those were the 2 active warrants. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And that's not even including, like, the restraining orders. Yeah, sure, I'll give you a link. One second. Here's a link to the website. This gives you all the stuff. We're going to be going over some of it, but if you want to look at it further, here's a link to the a website that has all the actual public documents from Chilie's legal history. Let's call it.
One is for criminal harassment. The other is for resisting trespass and
Toreador says his bondsman said he's a flight risk. Oh no, oh man, that's bounty hunter territory. If you look at his thing, a lot of these were for not appearing, especially early on. Let me see. That's a traffic ticket. Failure to appear. The site's actually nice because there's like little tags, and you can just click on the tags and see all of them. These are all his failure to appears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are all failure to appear things. He just doesn't show up to his court dates a lot. I don't know why he showed up to this one. Maybe he thought he had a good case and was actually going to win. Either way, it clearly didn't work out for him, did it?
disorderly conduct. In neither case is there a victim. No one was threatened, no property was...
There's that, like, victim thing again. That's not how the law works. Like, society at large can be a victim. Laws can be proactive. Like, I don't understand what you think. This is very Sov City, obviously. But it's just interesting to me because Chilie always claims to not be a sovereign citizen. He says he's just a cop watch guy, and he doesn't actually, like, espouses a lot of this stuff. But now this guy is? Ashley One Up says, what about his lawsuits against cops and the hundreds of cases he's allegedly won? Not on there. Professor Daddy 1118 with 21 months says, my guess is Chilie's brain failed to appear. I mean, that's a pretty consistent issue.
was damaged or stolen. Nevertheless, there are 2 active warrants, which seems like it would diminish the likelihood of any kind of early release.
What about the appeal itself? A lot of people have a misunderstanding of what happens with appellate process. First of all, he is going to need an appellate lawyer. Appellate law is a completely different animal than regular trial work that I do. Appellate court is going to look at errors in law, errors in admissibility of evidence, testimony that was not supposed to be entered into the record. But before they get to that step, they're also going to be looking at whether or not the person complaining about it did what's called invited error. In other words, did they object on the record to this? If there was this was a very short trial, so the record is pretty small.
This right here is where Chilie's lawyer might have hamstrung him. I don't recall a single objection from Michael Mee, but plenty from the prosecution. In the appeals process,
I don't really know what Chilie's lawyer was kind of taken aback because he wasn't expecting to actually have to talk that day. He was supposed to be standby counsel, but there was a miscommunication. There was a whole thing. But also, Chilie clearly wanted him to go with this First Amendment argument that just doesn't fit the case. It's just not what this is about. So he was kind of hamstrung by the fact that he was trying to convey an argument that I gotta imagine he didn't believe in. Now, as a lawyer, that's still part of your job, but he was also not expecting to have to give arguments today. He didn't do any prep with Chilie because he didn't think that that was his role. He thought he was here to be standby counsel. So I can't really blame him for that. He kind of had a shit hand to play, you know?
just looking for errors in how the trial was conducted, not about who lied. It's not about looking for any kind of evidence. They're looking for errors that affected the outcome. If not objected to during the trial, it's usually waived. And it looks like the hearing to get Chilie out of jail will again be brought before Ann Zimmerman. So the likelihood that she'll grant that seems slim to none. I mean, bruised egos stay bruised for a long time.
I would agree. I think Chilie's the one with the bruised ego here. Don't know why you think the judge would have a bruised ego. Nothing bad happened to her. She wasn't publicly humiliated. Chilie was.
Let's just talk about what the judge did from an appellate point of view. From an appellate point of view, she said very clearly that she based her conviction on what she saw with the videotape. Now, was it a good idea for Chilie to give the thumbs up and agree he hates all cops? She even said, look, he's nodding approvingly here. No, it's never a good idea to antagonize a judge when they're handing down a sentence. In terms of the sentence itself, it's in the midpoint of what she could have offered. So yeah, I warned
not the maximum.
About that, and I also warned that they could string them together consecutively in my other video. You guys have all seen that. I went out and told you what I thought would happen, and it pretty much happened as I told you. What, 6 months is a long time. Okay, that shocked me. That was harsher than I was expecting. I mean, the DA wasn't even looking for jail time and a suspended sentence, and the judge looked at the DA like, you got to be kidding me. So, did the judge abuse her discretion? No, you're going to lose on that. I'm just telling you, you're going to lose.
And the reason you're going to lose is because the system and the people who work the system don't seem to be interested in justice.
Or you're
Habeas
just wrong.
corpus may
what the fuck are you talking about? How did you listen to him explain that and then your reaction was, it's because they don't care about justice? No! Chilie's shitty! Chilie is shitty and broke the law, and now he's going to jail for 6 months. It's not a travesty of justice. Jesus Christ. There's so many people who are actually, like, fucked over by the justice system, and Chilie takes so much time away from that. So much money. The $25,000 he's trying to raise for his stupid defense that's not going to go anywhere could have been going to people who actually need it, who actually were mistreated by the system and need legal assistance. But instead, nope, going to the grifter. Of course, because he's the loudest guy in the room.
Fungus growing in the flower bed in your backyard, but it has a deeper, more profound meaning. Literally from the Latin, it means show me the body. That is,
I thought it meant the body of the evidence.
The judge or court should and must have any person who's being detained brought forward so that the legality of that person's detention can be assessed. Was Chilie's detention assessed in the light of fundamental rights
Yes.
or according to the accommodation of officer safety? I think we all know the answer to that question.
There's a balance between the two. That's a thing. Officer safety is taken into consideration. Like, you don't have to like that, but it is the case. Like, it's like he wants to go at legal questions from a philosophical angle, which, like, obviously philosophy is, like, a big part of, like, discussing the law, but you can't just, like, ignore all of how the system works and go, it shouldn't be like that. Okay, what are you gonna do about it? You can't just say, I don't like this. What are you gonna do about it? Whine about it and get a bunch of money on the internet for it, I guess.
In United States law, habeas corpus ad subiciendum, which is the full name of what habeas corpus actually refers to, is called the Great Writ. And it is not about a person's guilt or innocence, but about whether custody of that person is lawful under the Constitution.
Okay, Chilie is lawfully taken under the Constitution because, again, there's video of what he did. He was convicted in part because of said video evidence. There's witnesses. We're all witnesses of the video. What do you mean?
And grounds for relief under habeas corpus.
Hydrate, can do. One sec. Hydrate. Had to open my little panel to say yes or no to things.
In this case being a release from custody, include conviction based on illegally obtained evidence, a denial of effective assistance of counsel, or a conviction by a jury that was improperly selected in.
Oh, this is funny. Do you know why they're going to claim, one of the reasons they're going to claim that he had ineffective counsel? Because the counsel didn't put his video into evidence, which, by the way, there was already video of the event from the cop's perspective in evidence, but he didn't submit Chilie's, I would imagine, because when I watch both of them, neither make Chilie look good. Having an extra angle of Chilie being a dick and breaking the law probably isn't good for his defense. So I would probably argue it's actually really irresponsible of the lawyer if he had submitted that video, because it's devastating to Chilie's case. It's literally one of the reasons he was convicted, was the video evidence that already existed.
Impaneled. Let's face it, habeas corpus has historically been an important instrument to safeguard individual freedom against arbitrary executive power. Yet people fall prey to that executive power every single day.
The judge has wide discretion. Discretion isn't unbridled, as they say. There are limits to discretion. For example, discretion does not allow her to commit an error of law. In California, for example, if you want to file a 170.6 motion to disqualify a judge, you have to do it within, I think, either 10 or 15 days of being served it. The other thing is that Chilie's antics in the beginning of the case, calling the marshal a pig, judge.
Oh, by the way, for those who don't know why he called the marshal a pig, other than just, that's how Chilie is, Chilie came into the courtroom and put his feet up on the desk. He put his feet, up on... I can't do that, TOS. He put his feet, up on the defendant table and was, kicking back and, had his feet up on it. And the officer of the court said, hey, get your feet down. And then Chilie was offended that that guy told him what to do. Because Chilie thinks it's okay to put your feet up on a desk in court. A thing you wouldn't do probably at a friend's house, much less at a fucking court of law where you're being tried at the defendant's table. Other people have to sit there, right? He just has no consideration for other people. Do you think I want to sit at the table where your nasty fucking shoes just were? You're walking through Las Vegas. There's at least some fecal matter on the bottom of your shoes. What are you doing?
Could have held him in criminal contempt. Criminal contempt is any violation that's in front of the judge. But the judge warned him and decided not to. So that's going to count in her favor when people say she's biased.
And wrong or right, perception is everything. that a judge even has the power in a courtroom to arbitrarily declare criminal contempt just because somebody voiced
It's not
an
arbitrary, and you can absolutely, if you think that that is out of line, appeal that decision.
opinion.
He wasn't held in criminal contempt. He was not held in criminal contempt. He wasn't held in contempt in this case.
When there is no victim is sobering. And
It's not sobering. Decorum needs to be upheld in the court. It matters. There's good reason we do that. You can't have people in court yelling at each other and calling each other names. It doesn't matter if it's Chilie calling a cop a pig or literally someone yelling at a murderer and calling them a murderer. Like, it's a courtroom. There's a reason that we do things this way. The courtroom, it's not a perfect place, far from it. But there is a reason we do that, because you can't have it become a fucking circus, right? You can't have people yelling over each other and shouting things, and it just turns into a shit show. No one wants that. So there are lines. You gotta act a certain way. Like, I get it seems arbitrary, but it's not. Like, there's a reason we make these things very serious and official, and you don't wear a hat, and you dress up for it. There is a reason. Humans respect that kind of thing, if that makes sense. It's a cultural norm, it's an expectation, it keeps things solemn and respectful, ideally. It makes it so people take it seriously, and you want people taking court seriously because it's affecting people's lives every single day. Don't turn it into a joke. If you have issues with the system, absolutely change the system. Grassroots, do campaigns, lobby, do whatever you need to do. But in the courtroom, you gotta behave.
Should be sobering, since most black-robed tyrants are drunk on their own power.
Black-robed tyrants.
What I heard was basically the lawyer arguing the defenses that Chilie was going to offer, First Amendment defenses. Well, First Amendment defenses, those are pretty touch and go. I don't like those because this is a criminal case, not a civil case. And in a criminal case, you better have case authority like the judge asked for. You better have case authority that supports your position that this is an absolute defense to the charge.
Seems like there's plenty of case authority, not the least of which is Houston versus Hill.
Does he think Judge Dredd is a documentary? If it was, Chilie would be the first person applying to be in the police force of Delta City 1.
It's not easy to do in the criminal arena. And if you say, well, and I saw people writing this, you can't criminalize a constitutional right. Yes, you can. It happens all the time. I'll just give you
Time, place, and manner restrictions are a thing.
some obvious examples. You want to yell bomb on an airplane? Good luck. Your First Amendment doesn't cover you in an airplane. Okay? You can't yell fire in a theater. You've heard that cliche because it's true. There are limits to everything. There is no such thing as unlimited constitutional liberty.
See, I disagree with this assessment because I think...
What do you mean you disagree with... Like, you can say you philosophically disagree with it, but you can't legally disagree with it because that's very, very established. You can't. You can't let anyone do anything and then their excuse is, well, I interpret it to be my right to do this thing. I don't know. We all understand that there are limits. There's a reason you're not allowed to slander people. Same thing.
I think it's mischaracterized. There is unlimited free speech. There is unlimited right to keep and bear arms. There is unlimited freedom of press. But freedom stops the moment your freedom violates the freedom of another, which means there's no freedom to do that at all. Yelling bomb on an airplane or fire in a crowded theater is an infringement on the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of others and doesn't fall into the framework of freedom. Not at all. I have no liberty to take another man's possessions, just as I have no freedom to cause a plane or theater full of people to trample one another in a desperate attempt to find the exit to safety. The fire in a crowded theater argument is based on a statement of false equivalence. In other words, yelling fire or bomb in a crowded place is not the same thing as calling a cop a doggy at a policing for profit, corporately incentivized traffic stop.
Corporately incentivized traffic stop? What the fuck are you talking about? He's not saying it's the exact same thing. He's saying that there are time, place, and manner restrictions, which there are. So, understand that as you operate through the world.
And I would
That sucks, Halloween Town. Hope it comes back on soon.
think this attorney should know that.
The constitutional test for you YouTubers out there that want to be lawyers. Rational basis. Any rational decision by the government will be good enough to apply it as long as it's applied in a neutral fashion. Next is, there's a mid-level scrutiny and then there's strict scrutiny. Strict scrutiny is anything that would impinge on a constitutional liberty, and it has to be narrowly, there must be a compelling government interest. I didn't hear any cases discussed in the closing argument that would support a First Amendment defense. Now, Michael Mee said that he submitted them to the judge. It is in the record. The appellate court will do its own legal research and analysis on that. And there's the question of the admitted evidence. We only had 2 witnesses, and only the cop was cross-examined. Chilie wasn't cross-examined, which really surprised me. I mean, I would have had a lot of fun cross-examining him.
In a way, I can understand him saying this. On the other hand, that seems like a partial statement. I mean, why wouldn't he say the same thing about Officer Bork, who lied on the stand? I personally think cross-examining Bork...
Because the cop is a boring cop who probably sucks. He's a cop, but, like, he's just boring, and Chilie is batshit. That's why it would be interesting to talk to Chilie, because his view of the world is very outside of the norm, so that interests people. Imagine that.
Bork would have been way more fun.
My evidence of that is that I have almost 200 people on YouTube and Twitch watching right now, and every time I do Chilie, people show up. I mean, people show up anyway. But people find it entertaining watching people and understanding people who have very out there worldviews. It's an interesting topic.
Officer Bork, you've had years of professional experience and years of tactical training. You have a Kevlar vest on. You're armed. You have unlimited backup.
Alright, the rest of this video is pretty much the guy Chilie has running his channel, just bitching. So let's get to the actual bond hearing. This was on the 1st. So let's check it out. This was his new lawyer filed to... His new lawyer filed to try and get him out of prison, jail, I keep doing it, out of jail, keep him out of jail until, the appeal is done. Before we do this, actually, no, I'll wait till this video's over, it's okay. Let's go ahead. Let's watch Chilie, not have a good time. Oh, also, incredible acting performance from Chilie. Can't imagine why he got fired from Power Rangers. It was Wild Force too, so not a season with great acting.
013-015.
The bar was low.
Mr. DeCastro was convicted. He was given 6 months in
Hold on, let me turn on the captions. I think Chilie's hair looks better without the product in it, by the way.
jail. I would ask.
He's so forlorn. Look at how forlorn he is. He's so sad. He's such a sad boy.
Ask the court to consider, based upon his ties to the community, with sister here, nephew, he has a whole bunch of people who wanted to come to court.
Now that's a man who's definitely sorry for what he did and not just trying to get attention on the internet. Nailing it.
Seems to be this assumption that this court sentenced Mr. DeCastro to 6 months. You saw his conduct in the body-worn camera by the officer, and I would venture to say, and I would submit to the court, that the 6-month sentence that you imposed isn't simply for his behavior.
Your Honor, the statute we cited is, in fact, just discretionary to you to determine on appeal. But given the fact that I think he really is contrite for what he's done.
I disagree.
Yes.
So he's going to apologize to me in a minute, but that's not what he's saying on what he's publishing online in his phone calls from the jail.
I love this. I absolutely love that apparently she is aware that in jail he is still posting videos about her, still talking about what a tyrant she is. Which leads to a pretty funny video we'll watch after this one, where Chilie, after hearing this from the judge, definitely has a very real change of heart.
That's not what he's saying at all. I could have given him 180 days on each count and ran it consecutive for a year in jail, but I didn't.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so your motion is denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
I went in front of Judge Zimmerman again, and she had already decided that I wasn't gonna give my appeal on. And
I mean, you don't know that. That's absolutely you just saying shit. Hold on, we didn't even see the whole thing. I actually gotta go. I want to go to the whole thing. I apologize. This is Chilie's reaction video. I want to see the thing first. Delete laws. Before we get his response to that, I want to see the full thing. Where did it go? Here it is.
The Honorable Judge Zimmerman presiding.
That came in real hot. Sorry about that.
Please be seated. Come to order.
All right, Jose De Castro, 23 CR 013015.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Christopher Orm on behalf of Mr. Castro. He's present.
Nice to see you, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning, Agnes Patel from the State Farm number 11064.
All right, this is your motion.
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, I've had a chance to watch the video of the trial. I watched Mr. De Castro come into the courtroom in an extraordinarily disrespectful fashion and refer to the marshal in the most inappropriate way. I then saw
the faux attempts to be contrite just drive me up a wall.
some other things that I consider very poor courtroom antics. And Mr. De Castro was convicted. He is given 6 months in jail. One thing I know he's going to do today is, for no other purpose, no matter what your ruling is, he wants to say sorry. I've asked him if he'd say sorry to the court. I understand that you may see it as that he should have apologized to the marshal. I don't see the marshal in here that he did this with. One thing I would note for the court is that the issues that I saw seem to be significant constitutional issues. The court addressed
significant
it. What I did notice is that this should have been really briefed beforehand on First Amendment issues, so the court could have had that. That's no fault of. I think it just should have been done beforehand. I also noticed that at time of sentencing, the state asked for a suspended sentence, but Mr. Castro just pushed it, and I see reasonably agitated and irritated the court into causing a sentence that is now 6 months. This man, from what I can tell, Your Honor, has no prior felony convictions whatsoever. I'm doing that.
No prior felony convictions. But does he have misdemeanors? Did we see a whole list of criminal action that was taken against him? Just a thought. Just a thought. Just a thought.
On information and belief, I haven't run the scope. I know the state.
Ashley One Up says, Chilie's thought process right now, damn, still can't cry on command. That's why he got kicked off Power Rangers. K of Logan, thank you so much for the raid. How's it going? I am Hannah Reloaded. I'm a leftist variety streamer. Today we're looking at sovereign citizens, in particular one that is a huge asshole, Chilie De Castro. So give Kevin a raid, please. Or give Kevin a raid. That would be my job. Give him a follow, please. Can we get a link in chat? Oh, we did. We did get a shout out. Thank you. Hope your stream went well.
He could do that, but I don't see that he has any felony convictions. He's made his appearances, and I think the time in jail has been shocking to him. I know it has, because I can tell the reaction of the calls every day and how
the reaction of the calls every day. There's no way this lawyer actually falls for Chilie's bullshit. I know he's just probably being a zealous advocate, which is his job. But I'd feel a little dirty. I am Velma Reloaded today, it's true. The Velma look is intentional.
how difficult it is for him. I think he pushed this and is learning a very,
Overthought, thanks for gifting us up.
very difficult lesson in life.
Are there any not asshole sovereign citizens? There are probably some. Most of them pretty big dicks, though.
I would ask the court to consider, based upon his ties to the community, with sister here, nephew, he has a whole bunch of people who wanted to come to court, which I suggested may be a very, if they're going to come here, be respectful and mindful of what's already occurred in this court. But what I asked the court to do, given his lack of any serious criminal history, his remorse for his behavior in this courtroom during that trial.
I also Canada's worst driver today. I am.
And the fact that the state at the time did not want jail time, I'd ask for an appeal bond, Your Honor, so that the issue can be, these issues can be properly raised. And so
Actually
with that,
need to go fill up my water for the hydrate. Be back in a sec. I'm actually going to grab some pretzels, too. I'm pretty hungry. So, I'm going to grab those. Be back in just a sec. I have to be very careful. Normally I wear leggings with these. I am not today. Be right back. I've returned. Hydrate. Thanks for gifting a sub to KF Logan. That was very nice of you. Thank you.
Your Honor, I asked for an OR. I would just say a reasonable bail. I would suggest that since he came to the trial, since he already has gotten a taste of what inappropriate behavior in a courtroom looks like and feels like, I would ask for a bail in the amount of $10,000 or $20,000, appeal bond in the amount of $10,000 or $20,000.
Wow, that's weird. That's just about the amount of money Chilie has raised. Wonder if there's a reason for that. Part of me really wonders if Chilie... This would have been dumb on his part, but part of me really wonders if he was gonna try and get out on bail for this and then jump bail. I really wonder, because he did it for Ironton. He did it for Ironton. So I do wonder if he would have done the same. That would have been more serious, though. That would have been a more serious thing, because he was already convicted.
Your Honor, may I respond orally? Typically, pursuant to the Nevada Rules of Criminal Practice, the state has 10 days to file an opposition, but this was placed on calendar very quickly, so I would ask for leave of the court to answer orally.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm in receipt of Mr. Orum's motion for bail or any alternative for his own recognizance release. I would note that NRS 178.488 does make it discretionary upon
He's trying so hard to look like a human being experiencing emotion, and the well is just empty. He's like, people do this with their face when they're sad, right? There's no, like... When I saw this the first time, what I noticed was he's consistent, right? If you were actually emotional, it'd be a little bit of an up and down. Maybe there'd be a bit of a change here. He's just... Kind of looks like he's constipated.
this court, whether you would allow bail pending appeal. Mr. DeCastro, there has been a briefing schedule set before Judge Levitt in district court.
This should be his new headshot. Better than the old one.
On the appeal, but it's not set to be heard until July. It's discretionary, Your Honor, as with a lot of the bail settings in Nevada, it's discretionary. And the state will oppose this court setting a bail at this point.
It's true, he did say he hasn't pooped. He's working all the energy off in his training montage time.
Seems to be this assumption that this court sentenced Mr. DeCastro to 6 months in the Clark County Detention Center just because of his conduct or his inappropriate conduct in court. I would venture to say that Your Honor presided over the trial.
He's trying even harder. He's squeezing his eyes. He's trying to get some juice out of him.
Where you found guilt beyond a reasonable doubt for both the obstructing of police officer.
I can't cry on command either. I can't fake cry. The difference is, I'm not embarrassing myself by trying.
Officer and resisting a police officer. You saw his conduct in the body-worn camera by the officer, and I would venture to say, and I would submit to the court, that the 6-month sentence that you imposed isn't simply for his behavior in court or his behavior to your marshals, but that it is an appropriate sentence placed upon the defendant by the court due to the charges and the evidence that you saw during trial. There's also been this claim that Mr. DeCastro has stayed trouble-free for most of his life. I would venture to say, yes, he does not have felony convictions, he does not have gross misdemeanor convictions, but he does have pretty consistent contact with law enforcement. He does have a warrant out of Ohio for a trespass.
Nerdy says, I've seen talent show contestants fake cry better, possibly the only time I've considered them talented.
And I understand that's a piddly misdemeanor, however, it is a warrant status. And he has a pending case in Las Vegas Justice Court for the very same offenses that the court heard during the trial here. As to the claim that, hey, there were issues before trial and there should have been First Amendment issues raised or briefed prior to, Your Honor, defense counsel was able to argue the First Amendment defense. Your Honor heard these arguments both during the trial and during closing arguments. Mr. DeCastro was able to stand raise them as a defense, but Your Honor held, after listening to all of the evidence and applying the law, Your Honor held or found him guilty regardless. This was not a First Amendment issue. The state stands by that.
Yeah, the judge made that very clear in her ruling that, like, this isn't a First Amendment thing. Like, I've talked about this before. Chilie and other First Amendment auditors seem to think that the identity of press somehow shields you from legal culpability. As if, like, a journalist could turn a camera on and then rob a bank and say, I'm a journalist, I'm covering the bank robbery. Like, you can't become the story, you can't insert yourself and be doing things you're not allowed to do and then just say, well, I'm press, so I'm allowed. That's not what that means. The government can't stop you from filming or reporting, but they can stop you from doing illegal things while you are filming.
Defendant breaking the law. And he was sentenced accordingly for his behavior. It was a conduct, it was a consequence, an appropriate sentence imposed by the court to the defendant. And so we would oppose any kind of change.
Why didn't he have a jury trial? I don't believe it was for misdemeanors, and I don't think collectively it was enough to get an automatic jury trial.
Or any kind of bail setting or an OR at this point. This is not a pre-trial detention. This is not a pre-trial, as Valdez-Jimenez was cited also in defense counsel's motion. Valdez-Jimenez stands for pre-trial detention. Mr. DeCastro is no longer cloaked with the presumption of innocence. He has been found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by.
He did not ask for one, to my knowledge, no.
And so at this point, I would ask that the 6 months sentence that you imposed stand and that he remain in custody.
Mayor, I'd like to read.
Yes, and I would ask the interpreter to quit reading. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. We got it. Is there an interpreter over there? Yeah, Merrick speaking? Oh.
No, I was talking about the
Oh, I'm sorry.
interpreter. Yes. go ahead.
Your Honor, the statute we cited is, in fact, just discretionary to you to determine on appeal, pending appeal, whether appeal bond can be issued. I hear the state. I recognize that you found it guilty. I'm not trying to in any way argue that. On appeal, there are legitimate issues. The court can see that, you know, there are some First Amendment issues just from watching the video, things that a court could consider on appeal. And so that's the only basis I'm bringing that up on. But given the fact that I think he really is contrite for what he's done.
Oh, here's the part I like, when the judge actually brings up his streams. This is great. The fact that the fact that his lawyer is unfamiliar with his streams is not good for the lawyer. I hope the lawyer maybe looks into those and sees who his client is and make sure he's prepared next time.
Have you watched the videos that have been posted since he's been incarcerated?
Oh yeah, he got a new lawyer. In fairness, this is appeals. This is an appeals process, which there are lawyers who specialize in appeals as opposed to criminal trials.
I'm in a murder.
Because it's its own process that has different things going on.
Okay, so.
But I also think he didn't like the previous lawyer because he lost. Don't think it's that lawyer's fault. I think Chilie was guilty.
So I had a chance.
So he's going to apologize to me in a minute, but that's not what he's saying on what he's publishing online in his phone calls from the jail. That's not what he's saying at all.
His video directly after this, which we're going to watch, is of course him being fake contrite on the internet while still missing the entire point.
And are you aware that he has a trial pending in Las Vegas Municipal Court? He has a case pending in Good Springs Justice Court where he continues to manufacture situations where he'll get arrested.
Your Honor, I recognize that's what he was sort of doing for a living, and this is, he's now being incarcerated.
Right.
And
so what he's saying in the couple of weeks since...
I wonder how Chilie felt about him saying, I recognize that that's what he was doing for a living. He doesn't like when people point that out, that he just basically manufactures drama.
Incarcerated, when he calls from the jail and publishes...
Still couldn't crank a tear out, huh? Dry eyes.
On his website is not what he's about to say to me. Okay? So he's going to apologize to me now, but that's not what he's doing publicly, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, I hear that. I won't have him speak at this time. But I would still ask you to consider that there may be legitimate issues. I think there are for Judge Levitt to consider. And I think these are sort of issues of first impression. That was the other thing I saw, is that in the state of Nevada, I can't find any case law that specifically talks about this filming of police officers. What I would say...
It's not about... What does he not understand? Did he not listen to the case at all or read the transcript? This is not about the camera. This is not about the camera. This is about Chilie inserting himself into a traffic stop, trying to talk with the driver, yelling at the cop, refusing to move back when he's asked. How can the lawyer even be this off on this? This is so ridiculous.
Is I recognize that it's obnoxious behavior. That's what it appears to be. Whether it's protected is another thing that I think higher courts need to look at. But I can see if the court has already made up, the court's manual.
Well, I want to be clear. I did not have a problem with him filming, and I said that when I sentenced him. That was not the issue. It was the safety.
The judge had specifically said that it's a good thing that people film the police. She thinks that's a good thing to keep police accountable, but you can't get in the way while you do it. You can't yell at them and, like, be an asshole and, like, try and interfere with the stop. Lennon Cat, thank you for 18 months, says, woo! This sub-baby's name is going to be Chilie's Prison Wine. It's less of a sub-baby, more of a batch of prison wine.
Issues that he created with his behavior. And I also did not sentence him because of his ridiculous behavior in court. That wasn't why I sentenced him to jail. I sentenced him because I found him guilty beyond reasonable doubt, and I thought that was the appropriate sentence. I could have given him 180 days on each count and ran it consecutive for a year in jail, but I didn't.
It's hooch in prison, you're hooch in prison.
And his behavior was unacceptable in court, but that's not what I sentenced him for. I did not sentence him for his behavior in court. I sentenced him for his behavior for the 2 charges that he faced.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so your motion is denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Denied. Get out of here. Oh, that's nice. Supporters of this channel. One of them appears to be a furry. That's great. We love the furries. I'm convinced that furries are secretly the load-bearing structure of all of society. We just haven't realized it yet. Keep it up. Keep it up, you guys. You're nailing it. Oh, here's Chilie wishing bone cancer on children. Because he's a normal guy. Paradona says, I guess the First Amendment angle is the only card Chilie wants his lawyers to play. Oh, he needs to, because that's his whole thing. He needs it.
I hope you burn in hell. I hope you burn in hell, and I hope your kids get bone cancer. I think you're horrible. You're horrible people. You're just disgusting. There's no other way to see it. You know, you're bad people.
Don't wish bone cancer on children. What are you doing? Weirdo. Alright, so here's his response to getting his bail hearing denied. Bail whatever. Bail, request, whatever.
You know, for Ms. Zimmerman, what she doesn't understand is that I really have fundamentally changed my perspective. She may not know that because she only sees what she sees on video, you know, the way I am with my bravado. But obviously,
with my bravado, you mean your personality of being a dick? If you want to call that bravado, that's fine. Other people don't see it that way, though. Angel R with a $7 super chat says, you look amazing, Velma Coded. Thanks for streaming on YouTube. Weird crossover. Chilie also threatened Gunner TV, another streamer I watch. That's a bummer. Kind of worried he's going to come after me at some point, but I probably have at least 6 months to worry about it, so it's fine.
obviously after losing in Arizona, losing in Massachusetts, losing in Ohio, and now losing in Nevada, the common denominator there is me. And so when I go
Here's the faux contriteness before he again tries to turn it around on the judge.
to court, I have to change the way I have been, or I'm just going to continue to lose. I'll just continue to lose over and over and over again. So where Ms. Zimmerman was incorrect was that I unfortunately I've had 2 weeks of just completely being, in this position like this where all you have time to think. And so I have changed, and I want to advise anybody else who ever hears me that you should not behave the way that I have done in court in 4 different states, and I've lost in 4 states. So obviously the problem is me, and so I have to change the way I am. Continuing on that idea, as I move into public life, I have to change.
Notice that as he goes into this, he has to change, but not because what he's doing is wrong, it's because everyone around him is corrupt.
The rhetoric that I use, because there's half the people support cops and the other half the people don't trust cops at the least. So regardless, though, if I'm going to run for any kind of public office, I have to change my rhetoric. And this is where
He thinks he's going to run for public office. He wants to be a governor. Governor de Castro. Lovely.
Zimmerman was completely wrong. I realize now that I have to change. After losing in 4 states and 4 different courts, it's not, what's the common denominator? It's me. And so that means that I'm doing it wrong. And so that's what I want to teach other people. Don't do it like I did. Do it right. Do it. Show the deference and the reverence that you have to show to the court, even if we don't agree with the system.
You don't need to show... You don't need to show reverence. You do need to show deference. There's a difference. You don't need both, but you do need the one.
We still have to live within it. Or, as you saw, I got in front of Ms. Zimmerman, and Ms. Zimmerman formally married a police officer. So, obviously, from her wedding, she's going to have police friends that she's had for the last 20 or 30 years. I have been openly disrespectful to the police. So, obviously, if I go in front of her court and
furries and trans people for real, and seriously actually are responsible for a very large portion of telecommunications and security infrastructure.
show a horse's ass like I did, and she has the power to put me in jail, she's going to. This makes perfect sense to me. It's not personal. I put myself in a bad position. She has all the power and I have none, and she exercised her power. So
he's still framing it as though she did something egregious. He's trying so hard to play both sides of this and be like, I'm sorry for what I did, but she used her power because I offended her. He still doesn't get it. He still doesn't get it. Amber Pretzels says, Chilie wins, proceeds to roadblock at every step he tries to make his Sovsit, no laws reality. DM Trey says, Chilie can not and will never change in order for anyone to make change for the better, if honest, in order for anyone to make change for the better, if honest self-reflection, a thing he is incapable of. For him and people like him, the truth is a liquid that can and must fit any shape they need. Yeah. I think he's a narcissist of some stripe. And he does not know how to cope with that in any way.
I made the mistake.
He does not have coping strategies for his probable personality disorder. Me too, though, so. You know how it is.
Mistake. Now, do I feel like it's fair? Of course I don't. There's people who've been released from jail here who have committed felonies, who have committed crimes, who have actually stolen or robbed or hurt another person, and they have less time than I do. But if you put a camera up the state's ass, they don't like it. They don't want to be filmed, and they don't like my rhetoric. They don't like the way I talk about police, and they don't like the way I teach people. And so some of those things do have to change. It's not necessarily going to change that I appreciate an authoritative system where the only solution for any sort of disagreement with government is that you go to jail. I mean, there was just...
This isn't about a disagreement with the government. You're allowed to disagree with the government. What you're not allowed to do is break the law. The laws aren't suggestions that you disagree with. That's not how this works.
Cages and cages of men going to court today. Obviously, I can't give any of the layout here. And the guards here, I'll tell you the initial of a guard. He has initial L, that's all I'm going to say. He came to me and said to me, listen, they have a very strict, rigid set of policies, procedures, and protocols here, so I don't have to fear for my life because there's always going to be more than 2 or 3 guards at one time. And that if I just follow the rules as the rules are laid out, then I will be just fine, and I will do 4 up to 6 months, and I should be out in July at the latest August. So the guards have it.
Didn't he physically resist when they tried to arrest him? Yes, and that was after already doing shit he wasn't supposed to be doing.
I haven't seen the guards abuse anybody. I haven't seen them be overtly cruel to anybody. It's a very protocol system here. So
wow, after he got in trouble, or at least after he got denied bail in part because of his streams, now he's saying the jail is fine on stream. He was talking about it like it was a gulag, a dungeon, and then suddenly it's fine. No one's getting mistreated. Weird, huh? There's that fluidity to the truth that Trey was talking about.
I have nothing negative to say about any of the guards here. None of them have treated me. I mean, I don't agree that I should have been thrown in a hole for making a third-party call when I did not make a third-party call. But at the same time, you know.
Ashley One Up says, Your Honor, I should go free based on the ruling of I don't wanna versus you can't make me. He's also still denying that he broke the rules by streaming, even though he was breaking the rules by streaming.
When in Rome, dance like the Romans, or you're gonna get cooked. So while I don't agree with the ruling on the meeting that I had, I have 2 more days left in the hole, and tomorrow I will get no phone call out. None. I'll be locked in a room tomorrow from tonight when I get off this phone until...
It wasn't even... He can record phone... He can call, like, one individual and have them record it and then play it later. What he was doing was live streaming from jail. Like, there was no intermediary recording. It was... He was in jail on the phone, and his friend had called him, and then he put the phone up to his microphone. Like, imagine if I knew someone in jail, and I put the phone up to the microphone right now, and they were talking to you guys live. That's what Chilie was doing. He was live streaming from jail, and he was, like, talking about the interior of the jail, and its layout, and where the security stuff was, like, and he was talking about the judge, her name, her office location, her husband, like, it was a whole thing. He got cut off in the middle. It was great.
Wednesday, when hopefully I get to go back to a regular setting where I can continue to read. So I would like to say thank you to the guards who have been kind to me. There have been, and they do watch and listen to my channel. There's a lot of guards in here who watch my channel. and thank you for not being overtly cruel to me. And some of them have changed my perception on jail guards. They just have not gone out of their way to be cruel at all, and I haven't seen any of that. I've seen people who, if you're not quiet or you don't fall in line, then they come down pretty hard on you. And there's some things I don't agree with.
Wait a minute, you're telling me the jail is big on following rules and discipline? I never would have thought that.
I don't think that now is the time to voice those concerns. I think that there'll be a time when I come out of here that if I live through this, and I hope that I do, that I'll be able to write a book and I'll be able to tell the differences and things that I see. But right now, I'm just going to try to get along. So the next two phases are, we are appealing to the Nevada State Supreme Court because of the constitutional issues that there is no 21-foot rule, and that the judge had some definite anger towards me because of the way that I performed in court. And I've done it in 3 different states. So obviously, I kept effing up. And so I'm going to change the way I do it. And I'm also...
You can't both say it's your fault, so you're going to stop, and try and lay blame on the judge. These are mutually exclusive. Did you do something wrong? Or are they doing something wrong?
I'm always going to hire the absolute top-rated, best attorney in any place I ever go again. So that's what I'm going to do, and that was my mistake as well. The second part of that is that we're going to file a petition for a writ of habeas corpus to be released from jail for ineffective counsel, because Michael Meade did not submit a First Amendment brief, did not submit any motions to dismiss the case. Then he didn't do any video analysis of the police video, and then he didn't submit my only evidence, my video.
Because it was devastating to your case.
Into evidence. He didn't submit the
They saw the event. They saw the officer's camera. It's just a different angle of the same events. It was devastating to your case. You know how they saw the video from the other angle, and you lost? Seeing it from your angle wouldn't have won you the case. If anything, your angle looked worse.
Only evidence I had into evidence. And so then he called me to the stand, and we did no witness preparation. And so that would... as far as I'm concerned, it was ineffective counsel. I like Michael Meade as a person. I think he's a wonderful human being. I think in this particular case, he was ineffective. So even as you can see, because I know that, the judge told me today in court she watches my videos. So as you can see, even now, if Ms. Zimmerman is ever to hear this, I've changed the way I even speak, because I have to adjust my rhetoric if I'm going to survive in a system that wants to put you in jail if you put yourself in a position to be put in jail.
I need to be more careful in a system that wants to put you in jail if you break the laws. Okay then. Alright. Yeah, Chilie. Yep. You're learning. Okay.
And I perform this way in 4 states.
Can you believe that if they have the opportunity to send you to jail for breaking the law, they do? I can't believe it. I thought laws were a joke.
And so now at this point while I'm in jail, we have to take a look at my conduct and say, maybe it's you, bro. Maybe it's you.
Maybe it's
you, bro. I have to change. I have to change ever so slightly here. I have to change the way I behave. And so I will. And then as far as the auditing game, now that I have been arrested and jailed and I understand just going through the court process with the cop, I have learned how to audit in a way now.
He said he's going to do it different. His rhetoric is going to change.
That I can teach an auditing class, because now I know the red flags that will come up in court.
He's going to teach an auditing class after he has been arrested and found guilty of incorrectly auditing. And he is also scheduled for a trial for this same thing, like later in the year for another incident. But he's the one that should teach you how to do this legally, guys, for sure.
And when I get out of here, I will teach that class. I have mapped out constitutional law scholar on paper here in solitary confinement. And so I'm going to send that off to people. And I'm going to try to start getting that game put together. I had all the time in the world, so I did it.
He's in solitary confinement, but they let him use a phone.
Just sat there and folded pieces of paper and made squares, because that's all I have. All I have is squares of paper. So I'm going to mail those off. And I do appreciate all the support. And then California, it's California people of the state of. California people of the state of. That person, whoever that is, California people of the state of. Thank you. I'm looking at least another week or two in here if the appeal to the Nevada State Supreme Court is heard, and then I'm looking at a week or two for the writ of habeas corpus. So I'm looking at, at least 1 to 3 more weeks in here.
He thinks he's going to be in there for 1 to 3 more weeks. Does he still really not understand that he is in there for at least 4 months? If he has a potential of getting released of good behavior after 4 months, maybe he'll get out after 4 months. Kinda doubting it, though. Feeling like he's gonna be there for 6 months. Don't know, though. Don't know. Guess we'll see.
If both of those get filed in a timely manner. So I'm looking at being in here through the month of April until the middle or end of April at the very earliest.
It's the part of the movie where I
At the
take off
latest,
my glasses
August,
and it turns out
but likely end of July, and that will
I
serve
was mildly
my
more
entire
attractive the whole time.
sentence. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Oh, good. There's... I want this shirt so bad! Hold on. How much are these goddamn shirts? How much is this fucking free Chilie shirt? DeleteLaws.com. Let's do this. DeleteLaws.com. I don't think we've ever looked at his website. I didn't realize he had a website. When am I going to switch my glasses with Johnny Bravo? If Johnny Bravo wants to show up and flirt with me, that's fine. Let's see. Apparel. Apparel and t-shirts are 2 different pages. T-shirts. No products? Where's the shirts? This is bullshit. Where are my fucking shirts, Chilie? Where are my fucking shirts? You asshole. Okay, well, they're not available, I guess. Oh, was it on the front page? Why? What a terrible website! The architecture of this website's like the Winchester Mystery House. Chilie's afraid the ghosts of all the cops he's annoyed are gonna haunt his website, so he needs to make it very difficult to navigate. Okay, when I get paid, I may or may not want this shirt very badly, so I'm gonna go ahead. If anyone else would like this shirt, I guess here's a link. I guess there's a link. Get it signed? Can you get it signed? That would be lovely. I would be so happy. Chilie's a ridiculous person. Did we finish this thing? We did. Okay. So I guess let's go back and see some of his criminal charges from the past and see, how did Chilie get here? Toreador says, oh my god, get it signed while he's in jail. Chilie doesn't like trans and furries. Of course his website sucks. True! If I ever got a website, it would probably be the best website in the world. I have so many furry and trans fans. Chai T-Rex, thanks for following. Okay, which thing did I want to cover first? Okay, let's go to the bottom of this criminal record and see what it was. You'll see it ramps up over time. It ramps up over time. So here we go. State of Alaska versus Chilie DeCastro. This was in 1990. This one was pretty basic. This was driving without a valid operator's license, which is a pretty common sovereign citizen thing. So this was like 30 years ago. 34 years ago. Jesus Christ. 34 years ago, so he was young. Chilie's 50 this year. 1990 was 34 years ago, so he was 26. He was 26 when that happened. Quick maths. That was in June 25th of 1990, August 1993. driving while license canceled, suspended, revoked, or in violation of a limitation which was later amended to a no valid operator license. At one point, a warrant was issued for failure to appear, which was later recalled. A plea of no contest entered. This fits the common definition of criminal traffic violation and has been tagged as such in our system. So he failed to appear for that one, ended up getting a warrant, at some point did show up, and ended up pleading no contest to that charge. Fast forwarding a month to September of 1993. Here we go. This is the one that interests me. On September 25th, 1995, Jose Maria de Castro was charged with 2 misdemeanors, stalking and disorderly conduct. Did you know stalking is a misdemeanor? I know now. That's great. At least it was in Oregon in 1993. Can you have a bowl of free chili? Absolutely. Back of the line. So let's actually take a look at that stalking charge, huh? Let's take a look. Because there was a... Was this the case? Actually, let me double check this is the case that had the, order of protection. Let me double check. Actually, let's keep going, and then I'll go through detail later. We'll just kind of go through the timeline. 1993, December, he was caught and charged with theft in the 2nd degree, a misdemeanor. He was found guilty. On April 1st, 1994, oh, that's the year I was born. That's like a little under a month after I was born, actually. On April 1st, 1994, Jose Maria de Castro was charged with giving false information to a police officer. According to the attached court record, a warrant was issued on July 14th, 1994 for failure to appear. On July 18th, a motion was filed to disqualify the judge. Another warrant, this time an arrest warrant, was issued on February 17th, 1995. On June 6th, 1999, the case is shown as having been dismissed and the warrant quashed. So it seems like that just probably happened because, I don't know why, but I don't think it was because he was wrong. I think it was just because the court probably didn't have time or didn't want to spend the resources getting him. Who knows, though? State of Oregon versus De Castro, May 4th, 1995. Jose Maria de Castro was charged with several motor vehicle infractions, exceeding maximum speed, operating vehicle, VO restrictions, driving uninsured. Those were dismissed in June of 1995, which I'm assuming is after he got all that stuff up to date. If you get a charge for, like, not having insurance or stuff, sometimes they'll drop it if you show up to the court date and have shown that you have them now. So. Let's see, the next one, May 4th, 1995, another giving false information to a police officer, pled guilty, lost his license for a year. 95, he was charged with giving false information to a police officer. This is December of that year. Arrest warrant was issued May 8th, 96. The record shows no activity for the next 8 years, and then it was dismissed and the warrant recalled. So I assume that's just a statute of limitations thing that they ended up pulling the warrant. Here's one. This one has an actual mugshot from back in the day, so that's good. This is August 9th, 1998. Jose Maria de Castro was booked into the Denton County Jail in Texas after being arrested by the Hickory Creek Police Department. He was released the next day. The charges on the document appear to be codes that include expired registration, expired insurance, along with other arrestable offenses, thus meeting the criteria for our criminal tag. Based on a BeenVerified.com report, charges also appear to include failure to wear personal flotation devices on a watercraft. That one's a little silly. And failure to show a driver's license on demand. Typical opposite stuff. Failure to wear a flotation device on a watercraft is funny, though. I can imagine them being like, hey, you gotta wear a life vest, and him be like, I don't need a life vest, I'm Chilie de Castro. I can't drown. Jamie Lynn, thanks for gifting a sub to Miss Hire. Much appreciated. Let's see. This appears to be an incident he referred to in his videos as an arrest while using a jet ski in Texas. The final charge code on the jail record, Search Detail Report FTA, a common abbreviation for failure to appear, which would explain why we have not been able to find a court docket. So there, he had more charges. Again, fled. Didn't show up to court. Can't imagine why they don't want to give him bail. Do you mean a torture vest? Alright, that's good. This one is from September 22nd, 2002. Based on the dates of the violations for the cases immediately before and after this one, we believe this incident would have taken place around the end of September or the very beginning of October. The information we have found so far indicates that Mr. DeCastro may have been originally arrested and charged with felony manufacturing of a controlled substance and/or possession of a controlled substance for sale. This one might actually have videos attached. One of them did that I wanted to check out. Here they are. He mentions in a couple videos, this website has video citations where he mentions these things sometimes too, which is nice. Here he is talking about his charge for manufacturing a controlled substance. It's steroids.
You mean charged with but not convicted?
It says drug court deferred, judgment term successful.
Right. So I was given a diversion program, but I have no conviction of any kind of...
Again, I'm just looking at the...
Right, but there's...
What's GHB?
I just want to be clear, there's no conviction of any kind of drug record on it.
It shows drug court deferred, judgment term successful.
Right, so...
Sorry, I'm not cool enough to know what GHB is. Someone explain.
Understand, your government, your hierarchy, Chris Perry, he got arrested for using his girlfriend's credit card. Spooljarek, what about his drug charges? Are they going to just disappear as well? Are they going to get diminished down to nothing? Remember, guys, I was prosecuted and persecuted, charged with 5 felonies for this much GHB, which, by the way, Bret Hart's son, just did a video the other day that said everybody in the 90s did GHB. You bought it at the health nutrition
Okay, so it is steroids. Called that shit.
store, which is where I bought it. I bought it from GNC. And then when...
Okay, and that sucks. Like... Oh, wait, here it is.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Here's the thing. I've talked about this before. I don't think that steroids like that should necessarily be illegal. I don't really give a shit what people do with their bodies. I don't. If Chilie wants to take some kind of hormone and get all strong or whatever and take on the risks involved in that, he's an adult. I don't care. But it doesn't change the fact that it was illegal. Like, that's what it is, man. I don't know what to tell you.
GNC stopped selling it, I bought it from a distributor over in Canada. And oh Lord, that was worth charging me with 5 felonies. Eventually they got me down to this much, and I got a diversion program that cost me 1.5 years of my life.
Probably part of his problem? Almost certainly. I've had suspicions about that for a while. He was chosen to be a Power Ranger, it's just that he got fired after, like, the first week of shooting. Or maybe they hadn't started shooting and it was just rehearsals. For those who don't know, Chilie was cast as the Black Ranger in Power Rangers Wild Force, which came out around, like, what, 2004, 2005, if I remember correctly? So that's after these charges. I wonder if the production found out about these charges. Maybe that's why he ended up getting fired. Anyway, he was there for, like, a week, and then he stopped. You're right, 2002. It's even earlier because the millennial message... Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Power Rangers lore and when certain things happen, because originally the United Alliance of Evil is supposed to do Countdown to Destruction in the year 2000, which makes me think that episode happened in 2000, but I think it actually happened in 1998 in real life. So that threw me off. Power Rangers lore issue. It's not a steroid, it's a club drug? Okay. What was this one? November 29th, 2015. Violating California Penal Code. Criminal threats. Case was dismissed, though. Here's an active warrant. This is his Ironton one that he ran away from. Oh, is it the date or drug? That's a shame. Here's his Oregon one that has an open warrant. That was for a charge of telecommunications harassment, knowingly making calls to harass or abuse. Then we have this one, State of Nevada versus DeCastro. This is what he was found guilty on. Nice little mugshot for him there. So, that's fun. Let's take a look at the protective order against him, because I have the form that was filed to actually get the protection order, and it's pretty telling, if I'm being honest. If I can find the actual thing. It's the wrong one. Where did I put that? I had it earlier. Maybe I need to re-find it. Maybe I clicked off accidentally. Give me a sec. I gotta find his... I know there was a section specifically for protection orders. Events by category. There it is. Protection order and the stalking. Let's pull these up. See which one of these has the actual paperwork attached. There's the stalking charge, the misdemeanor stalking. I think this is the case that has the protection order. I just gotta find the actual thing. I apologize. I'll actually put on another video for you guys for a second while I look for this. I thought I had it pulled up, but I must have accidentally clicked off it at some point. So let me pull up something for you guys while I look for this. I'm trying to find something.
Going on. 20 more
There's
seconds.
Taquan.
20 more seconds. We're going to start. In 20 more seconds, we're going to start. Explain. All right. Peace and love, y'all. What's going on, fam? What's going on? And like, I never made a video about this before, and I think I made one clip about it, but I wanted to go deeper in, right? So let me explain something, right? And I know I've been seeing a lot of people on YouTube talking about discharging child support, you know, getting your kids back from the state, custody battles, and etc. Right? And people have been trying to find so many different loopholes within the system.
Who would do that?
Number
Taquan?
one, many people will say, "Hey, Taquan, can I file a lien against my children and take my children away from the court?" Or
filing a lien against your children aren't property. Your children are not real property for which a lien can be placed against their people.
Taquan, can I just discharge the debt with the court just to file, you know,
not a debt,
filing documentation, send them in a 1099-A? And a lot of times I tell people that when a child is born automatically sovereign, right? So you and the person you had
birthright citizenship is a thing in the United States.
A child with, split the child 50-50 ownership, right? It's just like buying land, right? So when a child is born, it's not born with a birth certificate. It's not born with a social security number. It's not born a social security card. It's not born with a state ID. It's not born with a driver's.
Okay, let's look at Chilie stuff. I found them, pulled them up. Let's look at this. This was an order. Let's take a look at this. For some reason, it's not loading on this screen. That's my favorite. There we go. Thank you. Let's take a look at these files requesting the order, shall we? So this is, of course, a protection order request form. It's going to trigger warning for abuse, for verbal abuse, for threats, for domestic issues. So warning for that. We're going to read the form that was filed to get a protective order against Chilie from one of his ex-girlfriends. So describe the most recent abuse. Boop, boop, boo. What did the person do or say that made you afraid? He threatened me and my fiance by saying he is going to Colombia and is going to pay a Colombian $1,000. I don't mean, this is serious, but I'm hearing this in Chilie's voice. The threat, and it's a very Chilie threat. He threatened me and my fiance, saying he is going to Colombia and is going to pay a Colombian $1,000 to come back to the USA and kill us and or break our legs. She alleges that Chilie threatened her and her fiance with a Colombian. Describe previous abuse. Jose is on probation and constantly threatens us that when he is off probation, he's going to harm us when we least expect it. What did the person do or say that made you afraid? Jose was on my balcony, watching my friends and I for about 20 minutes before we noticed he was there. He threw a lighter at the door and scared us all. Then he ran from the back balcony to the door of my apartment and tried to get me to come outside. Jose climbed a wall to get to my balcony. He was yelling threatening profanity outside and threatening to, quote, kick all of our asses when we left. He attempted to open a second balcony door on the bedroom balcony. There are 2 balconies. Were open, rather, where Eric, which is her fiance, was asleep in the bed. The curtains were open, so Jose saw Eric asleep in the bed and tried to get into the room. I remind you that there were witnesses to this. There are multiple. I don't want to focus on the names too much, because, you know, it's a public document, but I still want to not expose more people than need to. So there were many witnesses to this, and this order was granted. So I'm guessing there was some goddamn merit to the claims. Had to pull up my socks. Describe any injuries. Emotional distress. What did the person do or say that made you feel afraid? These are all separate incidents, of course. Jose pounded on front door of my apartment so hard that he cracked my door. The crack is still on my door. When he realized I wouldn't let him in, he went to the balcony and broke down 4 sheets of plexiglass that were encasing my balcony because I had cats in order to get in. He attempted to open the balcony door and was not successful. He was threatening to kill us both and threatening to do things to our cats. Then he tried to calmly talk Eric into coming outside to talk. This is horrifying behavior. He's trying to break into their fucking house multiple times? What a very stable individual. Describe any injuries. Bruises on hip and leg from trying to hold door closed from his kicking. Describe any abuse against you or your children. Jose broke into my apartment, through the balcony door, came inside, threw me into a wall, choked me, hit me, kicked me, spit on my face, assaulted Eric. He pushed Eric and threw him into a wall. Jose was yelling the entire time, threatening to kill me and Eric. Jose also destroyed some of my personal property and destroyed sentimental items. He kicked a hole in my bedroom door at this time. He stayed in my parking garage all night waiting for us to come and go and chase us in his car while we were... And then it cuts off. Jesus Christ. This poor, poor fucking woman. So again, this was granted, and it is a forever one. So he, to this day, still should not be able to see her, my understanding. To this day, he cannot go near her. Still. When is this from? 2003? 2004, sorry. 2004 in California. It was a misdemeanor stalking charge. He only got a misdemeanor. So that's what Jose's been doing. Not exactly shocked he's in jail. Don't know why he thinks he's going to change now. He's clearly never changed. He's had plenty of opportunities. He's 50 years old. I don't think he's changing. Just a thought. I think everything he's had the potential to learn and include in his personality, it's done. I don't think he's evolving much beyond this, but who knows. So, enough Chilie. We can move on to other stuff for the rest of the stream. Again, this website's pretty interesting. I think the stalking stuff is the most interesting. But if you do want to check out any of his other charges or miscellaneous documents that are publicly available, here's a link. Maybe we'll look at some of that in the future. This is final form. Starry Beauty, thanks for gifting a sub. Appreciate it.
He came in, got his phone connected right on time. Let me call Little into the record, and then we will get Lovejoy back up. So. Bernard, Brandon Little.
Speaking. There.
City of Detroit, this is Bernard Brandon Little, case number SP 1513015, counts 1, 2, and 3, SP 151309291, SP 1556287, counts 1 and counts 2, SP 1556352, counts 1 and counts 2, SP 1556353.
Junior on Elwood S. Berry Jr. on behalf of
the person who edited this video accidentally, you can see that they didn't quite have the top layer quite big enough, so you can see the layer underneath. At the very top, you see that weird color strip at the top. Just an editing thing I notice. That's actually an entire layer behind the video that they're trying to play, but they didn't actually stretch it far enough to meet the whole frame, so you're seeing the background that you're not supposed to be seeing right now. If you ever see something in a video like that, that's what it is. It's the fucking layers.
Of the defendant. State your full name, Mr. Little.
Bernard.
Your full name?
Bernard.
That's not a full name. Unless it legally is your full name, I guess, but I don't know if they let you do that.
I'm not the corpse. I'm not the corpse. I'm not the fiction. That they send me the caps. I'm not that caps.
So as I've explained before, sovereign citizens often believe that there is a separate entity other than them, a corpse, a dead entity, a legal entity that exists separate from them that they often refer to as a straw man. They think that this exists as documents, as your driver's license, as a birth certificate, pieces of legal, like any sort of legal paperwork with your name. They think that is your straw man fictive identity. This is a way that they're trying to get out of culpability for crime, or they genuinely believe that this is how it works, which most of them do. This person probably genuinely believes this.
Who gave you the last name Little? Your mother?
The government did.
I don't know about that.
Your mother didn't give you that last name.
The government gave it to me.
She had to tell the government, didn't she?
The government. She was the agent of the state.
Secret Asian man. She was an agent of the state? All right. What are we going to do with these cases, Mr. Little or Mr. Bernard?
I would like to know which jurisdiction I'm being tried under so I can adequately defend myself, Your Honor.
Criminal.
Read the court rules. I'm not here to give you a law school instruction. Read the court rules.
What do you mean? As a matter of record, I would like it to be placed on a matter of record how I'm being, what venue you are using, Your Honor.
That's not my obligation, okay?
What do you mean it's not your obligation? It is your obligation. You took an oath to uphold. Excuse me.
Mr. Little.
Yes, sir.
Let's stop, all right?
What do you mean, stop?
So just chill. Stop. I hate the clips.
Yes, sir.
All right. Secondly, it is not my obligation to read you the court rules. You're here If you don't want a lawyer that is.
I'm not asking you to read me the court.
I'm not finished talking. If you don't want a lawyer that's versed in the rules.
This judge gets so mad. Like, when he does sovereign citizens, he's been getting more and more frustrated. I don't blame him. Sovereign citizens are incredibly frustrating, but oh boy, he gets mad. He sees them a lot.
Then you...
This is another Michigan court. I think this judge works in Detroit, which of course handles a lot of cases, because it's, you know, like the biggest city in Michigan. But he sees sovereign citizens all the time, and he's been getting more and more frustrated about it.
Are obligated to...
What is it with Michigan and sovereign citizens? Part of it's militia culture. Some of it's militia-type stuff. There's a particular brand of libertarian that lives in Michigan, like a very don't tread on me type, and that tends to cross over with sovereign citizens. I'm not saying that's what this defendant is doing, but even being in proximity, that information kind of spreads around, so even if you're not in a militia, it's more prevalent in the area. Schifazoa says, at least we're not Detroit. We're not Detroit. I understood that reference.
To know the rules yourself, okay? So, all of that, what kind of jurisdiction it is, and all of that stuff, I'm not here to teach you that. I'm here.
You're not here to teach me, but you're here to inform me what jurisdiction that you're operating in, so I could defend myself. I'm not asking you to teach me anything. You're not teaching me anything. You're notifying me of what jurisdiction that you're operating in. Are you operating in commerce? Are you operating in military? What capacity are you trying me in?
This is district court.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm demanding. I'm not asking you anything. I'm demanding you tell me what are...
Saying you demand something from a judge probably isn't going to go great from you.
What process are you charging me of? Or are you charging this fiction of? Are you trying to get the bonds? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. You haven't notified me in the capacity how to defend myself.
This is district court. These are criminal cases. Read the Michigan rules of court.
That's not explaining which venue.
That judge is so over it. He's just leaning back in his chair. He's just done.
You are attacking me with. That's not what court. The court is the court. 36th district is not a venue. It's a place. It's an establishment.
What do you think a venue is?
It explains everything.
It's not explaining nothing. I'm asking you to explain which jurisdiction are you heading me in? That's a simple question. Why are you running from the question? That's the answer. What's the problem with you answering the question, Your Honor?
You're going to be the third person that I give 30 days for contempt of court to if you do not.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that, Your Honor?
Wait a minute. There's going to be some proper decorum in here, right? You're not going to sit here and you're not going to overtalk me.
Oh, I know overthought. I know what they mean. He's asking admiralty or common law because sovereign citizens think those are the only true jurisdictions you can be tried under. So if you've ever heard sovereign citizens be like, this is a admiralty maritime court, that flag has gold fringe on it. Same shit. Same shit.
Giving you the answer to your question. If you don't like the answer, let me finish. If you don't like the answer that I'm giving,
see you later, Miss Hire.
Then you file a motion on whatever you think jurisdiction is and wherever you think the case should be dismissed.
It's not about what.
Now you about to go there, all right? One more time, you interrupted me, and we're gonna go there. I said that gives you your opportunity to speak to the court through a motion. So whatever you say, whatever kind of path you want to take with these cases, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. But you have to put it in writing now, okay? So I can read it, the city can respond to it, and then I can make a ruling off of who I think is in accordance with the law. All right, Mr. Little?
You still, Your Honor, I'm trying to address this matter properly. Okay.
And I'm telling you how to address it properly.
But you still haven't told me what venue you addressing me in.
I just
Sounds
told
like an
you.
Abbott and Costello bit.
You didn't like my answer.
Who's on first?
So, with that being said, we're not going to go back over this again. You're going to either set the matter for a pretrial date. I'll give you an opportunity to write motions, and you can put whatever you feel that the law is, at the state of the law as you know it, or the state of the law as it is, or with the court rules and the statutory laws and everything. You can put that in there, and then I will let Ms. Snyder or somebody from the city law department respond, and then I will make a ruling on how I feel who's on the right side of the law or not, okay?
Your Honor, am I on record?
Yes.
You are on record.
I'd like to make a matter of record that Your Honor hasn't answered my question properly.
Okay.
I'm not satisfied with Your Honor's answers to my questions. I also feel as
It
though
looks like he's holding...
I've been...
Hold on. For a second, I swear to God, I thought I saw something... One sec. Okay, no, it's a pen. Okay, good. I swear to God, I thought for a second he was holding a vape pen. And I've seen... That's not that crazy. I've seen a sovereign citizen do that before. They were straight up vaping in court. So it's just double checking. Normal pen.
As though I've been threatened. I feel like I'm under duress right now, or coercion.
Do I get bonus points if I act like?
Oh my God! Stop.
Already set for 4 of the cases. We'll add these other cases to that jury trial date on May the 7th.
May the 7th?
Yeah, it was a final pretrial set for the 30th of March, which would be on, which would be, actually, that was a bad date because the 30th of March is Saturday. So we'll set another final pretrial date and give you a good date. And these motions, let's give you a motion date before May the 7th. Why don't you give me the motions by April the 26th? Your motion will be due. So that's a time where you, that's April
There's
the 26th.
no way he's going to be able to conform himself to the expectations of the court. He's not. He probably needs a competency evaluation, if I'm being honest. Even for a sovereign citizen, he seems incoherent. I think he should get a competency hearing.
26th, April 26th, the motion's due. The response will be due on May the 3rd. We'll have a final pretrial date. That'll be your next court date for May the 6th at 8:30. And then we'll have a jury trial date set for May the 7th at 10 a.m. on all the matters, all right?
Yes, sir.
So you put whatever you need to put in that motion, however you feel the state of the law is. I would like to be able to read what you're talking about, because I don't really understand your position right now, all right?
We don't understand each other's position, Your Honor. That's what we're trying to come. That's what we're trying to come together with.
And that's the purpose of the motion. That's the purpose of putting all of
that
information you have in the motion, so I can read it and review it. I might not still understand it. We probably are not going to understand each other's position.
Oh, you will, Your Honor. You will, because it's your language. It's your language.
I'll read it.
He needs a competency hearing.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, and just moving forward, let's not argue about the situation. Let's have a conversation about the situation so we can have a little bit better decorum next time. All right, Mr. Little?
It's never argument, Your Honor. It may be just agreement. You know, because I'm passionate about it, because my life on the line.
Right.
Not only my life, my trust. So, you know, there's a lot going on that
sovereign citizens think that there's a trust that has millions of dollars in it for them, that if they just figure out the secret words, they can get it and they'll be rich.
You know, ones ain't aware of that I'm aware of, as far as them bonds and things of that nature. So, you know, I'm fighting for a lot.
All right. If it's nothing further, sir, have a very good day. Best of luck to you, all right?
You do the same.
Well, this isn't good. This guy was supposed to show up to court. This is a sovereign citizen we've seen a little bit of before. He was supposed to show up for his trial? He didn't. Yeah.
People versus Eric Martin. Mr. Martin, you're back for a settlement conference on this misdemeanor matter. First thing I want to ask you, sir, is I have a court-appointed attorney available. If you would like a court-appointed attorney, I'm just double checking again because you do have a constitutional right to a court-appointed attorney. Would you like a court-appointed attorney?
No.
I'm sorry?
No, no court-appointed attorney.
You do not want a court-appointed attorney? You're breaking up on your end, so that's why I continue asking. So if you could also indicate with your head, like in a yes or no fashion, do you want? You're indicating no. Okay, let the record reflect that. All right, so I see that today is the date and time set for the jury trial, which says clearly in person. Matter of fact, it's even color coded.
Yeah, they're not going to do a jury trial over Zoom. They're just straight up not going to do that.
Coded, the notice that was sent out is color coded, as you can see in purple. It says in person, and then it says right there Tuesday, 2nd of April, 8:30, and in person proceedings, and it even shows the address right there, 23365 Goddard Road. And I'm curious as to why you're on Zoom and you're not here at my courthouse for this jury trial.
No, actually, I have the notice that says today's, and I can show you this on my phone. I have it's scheduled for.
There's nothing that you can show him that's going to make it not the day that you were supposed to show up in person to court.
This is considered a notice I have.
So you're supposed to be here in the courtroom.
Oh, I have,
like I said, not on Zoom.
I'll show you that here. Did you hear me?
All right. So if you'd like, I have the prosecutor, Mr. Greco. The two of you would like to speak in a breakout room for any possible resolution. I got no problem with that. But if not, I'm going to have to adjourn this matter. I'm telling you right now, the next date that you're coming is you're going to be coming in person for the trial here at the court at 2-3.
Judges hate that shit. Do not waste the jury's time. The judge will bury you.
365 Goddard Road, Taylor, Michigan, 48180. All right. So would you like to speak with Mr. Greco for any potential just settlement negotiation?
Yeah, I don't have a problem talking with him. Yes.
Sure.
He does not understand the gravity of this situation. This is like a stress dream to end all stress dreams. I have stress dreams that, like, a decade ago in, like, high school and early college, like, I worked at a Culver's, right? And before that in high school, I worked at a McDonald's. So, like, I'll have stress dreams where I'm in high school and I missed a big test, or, like, I had a math class I was supposed to go to and I missed all year and now I have to take the final exam, or I'm at McDonald's or something doing some shitty, stressful McDonald's job. This is a hell of a stress dream. You were supposed to show up for court and you didn't, and now the judge is yelling at you? How is he not panicking and crying? I would be a broken mess. I'd be like, I am so sorry. That would be bad.
All right.
Let me get it clear from you. You said I didn't get that date.
Your audio is of poor quality, sir, and it's very hard to hear you. So you're asking me for the address? You're asking me for the address?
No, I know you guys. I live in Taylor. I'm a life. Not within the corporation.
Let the record reflect that I literally can't understand anything he's saying. Can anybody else hear what he's saying?
And it's almost like we do the trials in person for a reason.
You live in Taylor all your life, and you know where the court is?
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, much better, yes. And now it's going in and out. So, all right. So hopefully Mr. Greco can hear you better. I'm going to put the two of you into a breakout room now.
Hold on, let me double check. I believe you that particular link is safe, but that website might not be. So let me take myself. There we go. I love Ogloff. Okay, let's take a look at this one. The bird wakes up. Fuck. Sorry I'm late. There were problems with the witness and I had to file. I'm not a lawyer at all, am I? I don't think so. Thank God. I was totally unprepared. It's pretty good. If you check out that website, be aware the comics, a lot of them are not safe for work.
Next time you're going to be coming. If
It's not porn. It's like funny comics that have not safe for work stuff in them. Sometimes they're pretty fun.
There is no resolution to date. I'm not saying that.
It is very not safe for work. Like, there are scenes of people fucking in it, but it's comedic, generally.
To say that you must come to some resolution today, but if there is no resolution today, this is going to be set for the jury trial that you requested, and that is here in person at the courthouse. So the next time you come in for this case, it's going to be here at the courthouse. Here's a breakout room prosecutor 1, and I'll put you and Mr. Greco in there.
But I want to make it clear, but I want to ask you though,
Hang on, go ahead and talk to the prosecutor first. All right, Mr. Greco, Mr. Martin, this is case is 231510OT, People versus Eric Martin, case 23TA18605B, 231 TA18605C, and then 231510. Okay, so that's there. All right, good. So, Mr. Greco, you had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Martin. Was there any resolution in this matter?
No, Your Honor, there was not a resolution. There was a plea offer that was made that was rejected by Mr. Martin. I then asked Mr. Martin if he wants I guess he wants a trial in the matter, and he would not, he indicated he wouldn't consent to the jurisdiction of this court, so.
Well, first off, you committed a crime in the city of Taylor. I have jurisdiction. Literally as simple as that. It's constitutional. It's going to be, Mr. Martin. I explained it to you before. I've explained it to you on other occasions about jurisdiction. You're reading.
This is my Velma costume. This is like a Spirit Halloween Velma costume. I don't have my magnifying glass, so.
Of jurisdiction or wherever you're getting this idea of how jurisdiction works is woefully wrong. We have constitutional jurisdiction. You committed a crime in the jurisdiction. We have jurisdiction. We have in persona jurisdiction over you. You availed yourself of the jurisdiction, and you're domiciled in Taylor as well. So there's literally every single reason to have jurisdiction. Now, so we're going for a jury trial. I'm going to mail out the date to set this for the jury trial.
Your Honor, if I might, Jeffrey Fianto. We were originally assigned to Mr. Martin, and I came in, you were talking to him, so I'm assuming that he is chosen to act as his own counsel.
That is correct.
Okay,
so, but since you're right here, let me just double check to see. Mr. Martin, just for confirmation,
He's had so many opportunities to get a lawyer, and he is just refusing.
You do not want House counsel assisting you. Is that correct?
No, sure don't, because I don't waive my right to a Republican form of government, and no.
That's not what any of this is.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Want to make the record?
Sure.
Attorney to fraud.
All right, so we are going to get the date and time mailed out to you. You need to appear in person. In person, that means your body corporeally in this building, not on Zoom, not by any other means or anything like that. Physically, actually present in space and time here at the courthouse. All right, that's what in person means. So we'll see you in person for the jury trial. You'll be getting notice in the mail. You'll get notice in the mail, sir.
I heard you, but I want to say.
They hung up on him.
People versus
Here's the actual trial.
Willard Turner. Mr. Fanto, good morning.
Morning, Judge.
Good old
Judge, with
Michigan.
Mr. Turner's permission, she's indicated that she will.
Oh, never mind. This was just before he actually showed up. We don't have the trial yet. I apologize. I thought the
Prosecutor.
second video was the trial.
You know, I'm not original day.
On January.
Do that's all.
That would have been nice. Womp womp. I've disappointed myself and you guys. What a shame.
Yo, peace everybody. License didn't have insurance. Video for y'all. This video, let me tell you how this one kind of got started. So I found myself
Has there ever been a situation or an instance where you felt pity for sovereign citizens? Oh, all the time. Most of the time I do. Almost every video we watch. Like, I'm sad. It's a sad thing. Like, I make jokes because, like, I try and keep this light. You know, this is labeled under comedy, and I try and, you know, keep it fun. But fundamentally, I do this because I find conspiratorial and delusional thinking really interesting. I'm sad for all of these people. I've had issues with, like, delusions and mental health issues where, like, I wasn't right in the head. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to not have an accurate view of reality. It's very sad. But it's also very interesting. It's interesting to understand why people believe these things and what those beliefs look like. How do people get into them? How do people get out of them, if possible? But yeah, I feel bad for almost everyone who watch, unless they're a grifter. Grifters, no. But people who have fallen for things, absolutely. Multiple things can happen at the same time. I can both feel bad for someone and think they're being an asshole.
once again being pulled over.
And sometimes it's not even that they're being an asshole. Sometimes it's that they're clearly ill or going through something where, like, they don't have, for whatever reason, the capacity to understand that what they're doing is ridiculous.
By officers. This whole year where this video took place, I didn't have a license, didn't have insurance, and I didn't have any of these things. So I wanted to try to figure out how I can get away with driving without no license and practice this whole right to travel thing. So I spent a handful of years, no license, no insurance, getting pulled over with cops just to take some field research to kind of figure out how this thing worked. So I want you guys to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, as I, again, put my life and my freedom on the line for you guys to kind of test out some theories. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.
You know your registration's expired?
No, sir.
You weren't aware of it?
I'm not. Am I obligated to have a registration, sir?
We're obligated to have a valid registration while you're operating a motor vehicle.
Well, I'm
Have your
traveling.
license and insurance, sir?
Well, right now I'm actually traveling in my privately owned structure. You see that private property?
Structure.
Okay.
I'm not actually commercially obligated to have a license.
Okay. Do you have your license and insurance, sir?
I'm not eligible to have one of those. I'm not required to by law.
You have your ID
You are, if you want to drive on public roads, which is what you're doing.
card, something that identifies yourself.
Oh, damn it, he has kids in the car. Why do they always do this with kids in the car?
Are you saying that I'm obligated to have an identification?
Obligated to identify
If you want to operate a motor vehicle on public roadways, yes.
yourself.
I am obligated?
Absolutely.
Okay, my name is Chilie.
Your name is what?
Chilie, sir.
Chilie? How do you
Yes,
spell
sir.
that, sir?
A-K-I-L-I.
A-K-I-L-I. What's your last name, sir?
I don't have one of those. Are you gonna give me your badge number as well, sir?
You don't have a last name.
But am I obligated to have a last name, sir?
Sir, are you really gonna do all this in front of your children?
Fair point.
Sir, I'm exercising rights. Is that a law?
Exercising the right for you to go to jail. That's what right you're
Oh, twink cops got jokes.
Exercising rights. Is that a law?
Exercising the right for you to go to jail. That's what right you're exercising.
For what
What's
reason?
End up happening is you're gonna have to identify yourself.
Okay, what reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime?
Just hang tight,
Texas
okay?
Texas
You
versus
have
Brown.
insurance on you?
Brown versus Texas requires you to have a reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime in order to get identification.
Do you have your
Can you please get your
insurance on you, sir?
supervisor out here, sir?
Do you have insurance?
Can you please? Am I obligated to have insurance,
Yes, you
sir?
are.
By what
Everyone else is
law?
obligated, why aren't you?
Because I'm not driving commercially. I'm traveling.
All right, just hang tight, okay?
Okay.
Sovereign citizens believe that you only need insurance if you are driving commercially, like driving a taxi or a delivery truck. Untrue. Vest Demon, thanks for 200 bits.
I got Supreme Court roots.
okay?
Am I being detained right now?
You are not free to go.
Am I being
Absolutely, you are detained right now.
for what reasonable
Because you're
suspicion
operating a
though?
motor vehicle with
I'm
expired
not operating a motor vehicle.
Well, you're not free to go. Hang tight.
Can you get your supervisor out here, sir? Sir, can you get your supervisor out here?
Twink cop looks like less of a twink when he walks further away. That up-close shot was deceiving.
Thinking if you don't have a license, there's nothing else I can do. I have no choice but to play the game a little bit. I mean, I don't have a license.
He sped up these parts. Why? Why did he speed this part up?
Only thing he could do is say that, get a supervisor out here, and make sure say that I'm obligated. Should we do right? Nothing we can do now. He calls in a supervisor, or whoever he thinks he need to call. You're not required to identify yourself.
He sped up this part, so I slowed it down so we could understand it.
By law, you're not driving. You're not even behind the wheel. They can only identify the driver. Me? Shit, they just take me to jail. What else am I supposed to do? I don't have a license. There's nothing else I can do.
Yeah, you admitted to committing a traffic crime. You admitted to crime.
I have no choice but to play the game a little bit. I mean, I don't have a license. The only thing he could do is say that, get a supervisor out here, and make sure say that I'm obligated to give him something and everything else. So I tell him under duress, I'm gonna give him whatever I have to give him. And that's where we go. And that's where we go. And shit, then I get bonded out. Here, take my money. Don't need to be on me.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to normal speed. They called in more cops because he's a sovereign citizen. That's not uncommon. I've seen that before, where if they're clearly a sovereign citizen, they call in more cops.
All these officers, we've done nothing, committed no crime. Now they called out a bunch of officers. I guess they're saying that I'm obligated to have a license or insurance, and I'm telling them that I'm not obligated to have any of those things.
Well, I guess the court's gonna make that determination.
He asked me for my name. I gave him a first name of a natural name, and he asked for a last name. I told him I didn't have
Natural
one.
name. Don't you love in the springtime going out with your family to pick the fresh names off the trees?
They're threatening to take me to jail, and then he said he was gonna come back, and now we'll just see what's going on and what actually transpires from this. Supervisor?
Yes, sir. My name is Sergeant Garza.
Sergeant Garza? Okay. How you doing today?
Wonder how he's gonna feel when the supervisor also doesn't agree with his nonsense.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, how you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. What is it that you guys are detaining me for? What reasonable,
I can't hear you.
what reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime are you guys detaining me and my family for right now?
Well, I don't know. You said you wanted to speak to me. So
Yes, because I'm being detained. If I'm being detained, then Brown versus Texas says that you have to have a reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime in order to identify and detain someone. He has not told me what he's detaining us about. Right now, we're being held at ransom and gunpoint. I'm under the
You're not being held at gunpoint.
arrest, you guys. Well, you guys have guns.
Gunpoint means they're pointing guns at you, not just there are guns in the vicinity. Those are two very different things.
I mean, is it? Well, we have guns. Look at how many
different things.
people you bought here for this.
My understanding is you're being stopped for a traffic violation on a public roadway.
On a public roadway.
Yes, sir. Those are public roadways.
Okay, so
They're not private. They don't belong to you. They belong to the state of Texas, which is a privilege.
which is given from the people to the state. So the people actually own the roads.
Okay, and the people of elected representatives that have passed laws that say that you need to have a license and insurance to operate on those roads.
So exactly, I'm one of the people. I'm traveling. I'm with all my. I'm well within my rights. This is private property. I'm not commercially. Right now, I'm not doing anything commercial.
The state says if you're going to drive on that roadway, you have to have a driver's license.
So that obligates me because the state says that I'm obligated to have that. Then
Yes, sir.
Me.
The driver.
You know what gets me about sovereign citizens? I understand why some people might not like the sovereign citizen streams because they're repetitive. The stops are almost identical half the time. It's the same thing over and over again. But see, that's the part that gets to me. That's the part that bothers me. Because nonsense in and of itself, you would assume, is just nonsensical, right? Nonsense should just be whatever. But there's a logic to the nonsense, and I don't mean that in the sense that it's correct. It is objectively not correct. What I am saying is, people are consistently fucking up in the same ways, and that says something about people, about our mental processes. It says something about something. What is it? Chat, tell me. I'm trying to figure it out desperately, day by day. This is my fucking job, and I've made no progress.
The operator of this vehicle.
The traveler and the guest.
Driver or the operator of
Okay, so but it doesn't obligate a traveler then.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
You're not free to leave, sir.
I'm not. I'm being detained.
Yes, sir.
For what reasonable suspicion of a crime? How do y'all guys do this to people's family and stuff, man? I'm not even doing anything wrong.
Turn right for Atascocita Road, then turn right onto Atascocita Road.
I'll probably turn the GPS off for now.
Yeah, everything is fucking wrong on this thing.
Registration does not come back to this car.
Okay.
So this car.
I did.
Your name and your date of birth. Sir, I want to give you one final opportunity to identify yourself to us.
Okay.
Are you willing to do that?
I did. I gave him my name. I
Okay, I
did.
need your name and your date of birth. I need your address. I need all the information for the traffic stop so we can issue your citations. That registration does not come back to this car.
Okay.
So this car is going to become my property here in a second.
But it's private.
Ooh, poor choice of words from that cop. That hit every sovereign citizen hot point. Oh no. Oh. That was an unfortunate choice of words on the cop's part. Holy shit.
Property. It's not registered to anyone. It's not registered in any place. Well, then you guys would be theft though.
If you want to step out and
To
talk
be
to
clear,
me,
for like an average person, that's fine. I don't think the cop it's just that the phrasing itself plays into several sovereign citizen stereotypes about how the law works, that they're road pirates and that they're stealing their shit. Like, Yes, it sounds like he's saying this car will personally become my property as opposed to it will be impounded until such a time as you can prove that it's yours. He just framed it in a very personal way that made it seem, not great. But again, for the average person, it'd be fine. It's just that it's a sovereign citizen that comes off a specific way.
You're more than welcome to. If
Anonymous, thanks for gifting us up.
not, we're going to do things complicated way. Up to you.
Well, then, I mean, then we'll be filing under Title 18, Section 241, 242.
After I'm done with my job.
Thank you for gifting another sub, Anonymous, if that's the same Anonymous.
I'm just, but
If
how
it's
does your
not, thank you to other anonymous person.
job obligate me in some way?
That registration does not come back to this.
Okay, so does that mean that this car is something wrong? Does that mean there's a crime being committed right now? You guys are. I'm saying when you guys are using your lights, when you use your lights, it's supposed to be an emergency. So it's against the law if they have to use the bathroom and they have nothing to do with this at all. It's just me. Are they welcome to leave? Are they being detained as well? Are you detaining my family? They're not even involved. Well, thank you, baby. Go ahead. If you want to, can you please step back so she's able to get out, please? Please. Just wait till she gets back. Just please. I mean, I'm asking, is it against the law? We haven't done anything unlawful,
I'm not
sir.
going to keep playing this game with you.
What game?
You're either going to obey what I ask you to do, okay? You've been stopped for a traffic violation on a public roadway.
Non-binary says, in a thought experiment, when you're a baby in the womb, could it be likened to wearing your birth giver, considering that clothes are worn on the outside of your body, and as an unborn baby, you're surrounded by your birth giver, similar to how clothes surround you externally? How high are you right now? Are you okay? Do you need us to call someone or put on some Enya? You're fine. You're fine.
Right, but the people own the road.
Okay, I'm done.
So the people don't own the road, sir? Well, they said you can go, baby.
I just want to get my kids out here.
Well, go ahead. They said you can go.
No.
Go, baby, if you need to go. So they are free to go, though, sir.
Your wife and your child, yes, sir.
Okay, they can go. We'll go ahead and go.
I've already answered that several times.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm being detained. I haven't committed any crime. There's no habeas corpus. No corpus delicti here. What do you?
Okay, he means corpus delicti, which is also untrue, but he said habeas corpus, which is a right to a fair trial. Tina 2, thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. I'm Hannah. Today I'm dressed as Velma. And we're looking at sovereign citizens today. Make sure you check out Tina 2. Can we get a shout out for Tina 2 here on Twitch? DM Trey with a link of some kind. Trump's 175 million bond rejected, filled with filing errors. He's gotta hire better lawyers.
You guys operate on.
We're actually almost done with the stream. But thank you for the raid. Give a follow to me as well. I'm entertaining from time to time, or so it's been said.
What authority are you? Won't answer any questions because you know I'm right. You guys are unlawfully detaining me. I've done nothing wrong. When you guys use your flashlight, you're declaring an emergency. That's against the law. You're not supposed to be
flashlight. Siren.
Doing that. There's no emergency. There's no crime here. No corpus delicti. No proof that that law applies to me. You guys are just...
That's not what corpus delicti means.
Operating right now, you're outside of your jurisdiction. Way outside of your jurisdiction. You guys will be still in my car, and I want all your badge numbers. We'll go to civil court. Look up subsection 241, 242, Title 18 of the United States Code, deprivation of rights while under the color of law. Look up section 241, 242. You guys are violating that right now. I haven't done anything wrong. Hold on, baby. Close the door, please. Close the door.
Close the door?
Yeah, please. I mean, you said you were gonna let them out. Why do you guys keep coming back?
Because I'm gonna explain to you what happened next.
Are you violating section 241, 242?
The attorney's office has accepted charges against you for interfering with our public duty.
For me? For what?
You can step out on your own. Or
for what though?
Our way in and have you
okay, listen to this.
But they are welcome to leave anytime they wish.
Okay. Well, can you back up at least to let them leave then?
Sure.
Please? Can you please back up at least to let them leave, please?
Yeah, she's gonna back up. They're leaving out of that side.
Why would you do this to me? And my family.
You need to have insurance and a driver's license.
Would you want somebody pulling you over in your family and harassing you?
Again, you're gonna do this
Sure,
the easy way or the complicated
I'm gonna do it the easy way. Under duress, I'll do whatever you want.
I need you to step out.
So am I? So you're gonna accept me under duress?
I need you to step out, please.
Is that I'm obligated to step out?
Yes, sir.
I am.
I'm asking you to step out.
But that means that I'm obligated? Does that mean that I'm obligated, sir?
Please step out of the vehicle.
Please go ahead and go. Please go. Please let them out. Please let them out, and I'll do whatever you have to do.
They can step out. Ain't nobody
Please.
gonna stop them from stepping out. Ma'am,
Please.
Please back up. Please.
How could this happen to me? I've made
Yeah,
my
no. Go ahead.
mistakes. Nowhere to
You guys do this to me. I'm not doing. Okay.
They ask you to do.
So that's him. So that's the end of today's stream. Sorry, Raiders, I know that was a brief stream for you, but I suggest you go back and watch from the beginning. It's entertaining, or check out one of the many other streams that I have done, because I stream almost every day. And I have an audience, so it must have something worthwhile in there. Don't know what. But that's the fun of it. You find the fun. Seriously, though, it's good to have you. Normally I cover debunking and talking about conspiracies and why people believe them and how they propagate, stuff like that. It's my special interest, you might say. So, it's a lot of fun. Let's do that raid, and then we'll call it a night. Love you too, Mr. Blast.
Just would have been cool.
Alright, have a wonderful evening, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll see y'all then. Both YouTube and Twitch. Not sure what we're doing yet. Maybe Chuds, John Doyle does have a new video out. New-ish. We might check out. If not, maybe some longer form thing that we can dive into. Anyway, have a great night. See you soon.